This is the Rushmore Show live in studio where it's all about your top four and nothing more. Kirk, you're here.
I'm here.
You're here in Louisiana.
It's Louisiana.
In the impromptu Rushmore studio.
The studio.
We're live tonight. We're going to see. This is going to be, I'm excited for tonight.
It's a great show.
Chat about it. What's going on?
Yeah, so tonight we are going to continue our series in movies.
Yep.
And we're going to also fall back into our love of video games. And we got some really great guests. I mean, if you guys have been following us for the last week and a half, you've seen a lot of shorts going out. But we are going to hang out with some of the cast members of Five Nights at Freddy's.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's an amazing time. And as you guys come in, start dropping the comments. Say hello. Say where you're coming from. We're live right now on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. If you're over on the Facebook or Twitch side, tell us that you're there. We're trying to figure out what is the best way to do our multi-streaming side of things. But if you're not, come on over and join on the YouTube side and hit the little sub and all that stuff. As I can see, Kevin is down in the comments already.
Kevin's here. What's
Kevin's
up, man?
Been on the show before. Oh, look. Boom. Perfect. Farrell, before you go. Farrell, before you go. Hey, Farrell. I was watching Farrell just a couple days ago, and he beat the old Nintendo game Crystalis. Now, Farrell, I brought this all the way from Georgia here to Louisiana just to show you. But I said I had that strategy guide. Here it is, man. Check this out. Get a clue. Crystalis, SNK. Now, watch. I'm turning around. My old address. You can even see it.
He doesn't live there anymore.
I don't live there anymore.
I don't know who does.
But boom. There's the old address. And then that stamp says 1991. And look.
I was 2.
I was 2. And here's another cool thing, Farrell. Check this out, Farrell. We were talking about Ikari Warriors. The Ikari Warriors, the Rescue 3 right there next to the old table of contents clue. Dude, yeah, back in the day, I was a Crystalis fan, and SNK sent this to me. So as we get the show started, so I held that on, hoping you would show up today. But, hey, if you're in the comments, by the way.
We got Miss Rhonda in here. What's up, Miss Rhonda?
Will Evans in the house. Miss Rhonda Lusco. We're going to talk about Louisiana RetroCon, rocking the shirt. But, hey, if you're in the comments, you love video games, go and follow Feral Inferno and some of my other friends. Barry. I believe, Barry, we met through either Bert or Spine Ticks or Vogs or one of those guys. Welcome to the show. We're going to talk video game movies. Drop them in the comment. Now, criteria is very important today. Yeah, criteria is important.
It's always important.
One of the reasons is we have some video game movie guys on here.
Yeah, we do.
And not everybody's going to pick their movies. So so criteria is key.
Very key.
Now, do you love video games?
I love video games.
Do you love video? Do you love movies?
There are movies that I particularly love.
Do you love video game movies?
There's at least 4.
There's at least 4.
There's at least 4 tonight, guys, that we will chat about.
Hey, so as we're walking through this, drop your 4, 3, 2, 1. You know how we do it. You can even get some Benjamins, which is the honorable mentions. But I think it's probably time to welcome on our guest. Now, this is going to be a fun little time because we're in studio together, so we have a whole different setup. Yeah. So if you catch us not looking at you, I'm sorry. I apologize. But yeah, we will. We're going to do our best today. So, I lost my comments, dude.
No, what did you do?
There they are.
This is
still waiting for the Bubsy movie, right? It's not Bubsy, right? It's Bubsy. Yes, Bubsy. That's the cat that chases the yarn ball. But hey, so let's do this. It's time for your Rushmore of video game movies. Let's get it.
Let's get it.
All right, guys. It is the Rushmore of video game movies. Again, we have put out a bunch of shorts today. Matter of fact, our highest viewed video.
We went viral for a minute, guys.
Which was a short. It's nothing to beat the woods about, but it's the best for us. 4550, I think is now 4.6 thousand views talking about our friends from Five Nights at Freddy's. And listen, here they are. I wasn't very well versed in these guys until we went and hung out with them in a convention last year right here. And let's welcome to the show our friends, Hank and Carl, better known as Christian and Joseph. Welcome to the show. Oh, man. How are you guys doing? First and foremost, thank you for blessing us and coming on our show. I'm sure you are so busy with what you've got going on. So tell the world a little bit about who you guys are, the world of FNAF, and tell us maybe some of the characters and things that you're doing and whatnot. So just introduce us to Joseph and Christian. Go ahead.
Joseph, go ahead, buddy. Start off. Beauty before age. I got no volume.
Oh, we don't have volume for you.
He's speechless.
He's speechless.
Well, that's okay.
That's all right. We'll switch to Christian and we'll come back.
I secretly sabotaged his gear so I could go first. That's right. That's the supervillain in me. Hey, guys. Christian Stokes here. I play Hank in the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. I'm currently in Nashville right now. My brother is on tour. He's in Anchorage, Alaska. He's a musician, so I've been hanging out, watched my niece graduate, so a little family time, a little downtime. Listen, Five Nights, things are picking up again for Five Nights. I guess they've announced that they're going to start shooting again at the end of the year, and that I guess December 5th, 2025 is the release date. So some cool things that are coming on. People have been asking me, are we a part of it? We don't know. No one's reached out to us yet, but regardless of the fact, that wouldn't happen until we get closer, and we couldn't tell you anyway if they. Yeah. This, we'd be all up in NDA land again. We lived in NDA land for a while in the first movie for sure. In fact,
so we met you guys over at the convention, and I was trying to ask a few questions just to see what we could. And even back then, we couldn't really get any too big of a conversation going, but we did get a good interview with you guys. And the whole convention kind of showed up and was kind of talking with you guys. That was great. So if some of you have some questions that you want answered, you might want to go and check that video out. It's over in the playlist. So Joseph, I hear you, man.
I was about to ask. I was like,
there he is. There he is. There's Joseph. Hey, so Joseph, tell us a little bit about you and what you got going on.
Hi, I'm Joseph Poliquin. I play Carl in Five Nights at Freddy's. That's my dad up there or over there. Where is that on the screen?
Yeah.
And we've got a lot going on. I'm in production for a film right now. I'm also the lead actor of Skate to Hell now. And I think I can thank the Five Nights at Freddy's fans for making that happen. I was on set, and Sebastian Bach's daughter walked on set with Sebastian Bach, and she asked me for a picture because she loved the movie. So
that's awesome.
Isn't that crazy? Kristen, that is insane.
So, all right. So let's rewind a little bit. Joseph, it's Skate to Hell. When do you start filming that? Soon?
Oh, we finished. We finished filming it.
Oh, so you're finished. So when does that come out? Do you know?
There are rumors that it's going to be coming out at the end of the year, but I'm not allowed to tell you the things that I've heard.
Oh, we're not even there yet. Like, they haven't even announced that.
Yeah, but I'll say this.
I noticed online, Joseph, that you probably because of Skate to Hell, you got like sponsored by some skateboards, and you've been grinding all over the skate park. About that.
I already broke the first board that the company sent to me. Tickle Me Not makes some amazing skateboards. They're awesome. They kick flip real quick and stuff. But I skated it so hard I broke it within a week. And he's like, I guess I'm gonna send you another one. And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get an expensive artist to sponsor.
Well, that's cool. And then Christian does a acting school close by where I'm at, in Kennesaw area. And once you go back to New Orleans, hopefully you get to relaunch that. But man, I think we should probably jump into the comments real quick, and then we'll jump over to the show. And so today on our show, Christian's going to go first with our Rosie. So Christian, you're going to get your criteria ready as we chat with these guys. Look who's in the house, Mr. Davey Lusco, Louisiana RetroCon himself. Welcome to the show, Davey. Davey's been on the show numerous times. Spine Ticks in the house. Guys, let me tell you about Spine Ticks. Got 9 people here. All of you need to run over to Spine Ticks. 11 now. Go over to Spine Ticks right now. This guy, when I was in St. Augustine for spring break, dude, catch this. 13,000 subscribers he had. Wow. I think he just broke 140,000 subscribers this week. Or it's pretty close. I think last time I saw it was like 134 or something like that. Right. But he's probably going to hit 200,000 before the year's over. It is crazy what's happening over there. The community on a Saturday night is the best. So if you are a creator, get over to Spine Ticks. If you're not a creator, just want to chat, get over to Spine Ticks and go hang out with Sith and Lady Sith, his wife. Man, they're amazing folks. Yeah, 140 is right, Farrell. It hit like 13 just a couple weeks ago. It's crazy. Yeah. Brian Basketball's in the house. Brian Basketball's toot toot. That guy starts off the Spine Ticks show. And welcome to the show. Connor, you're new here. And since you're new here, and we'd like to just say hello to the Summit Squad. And this is how we do it. Connor. Welcome, buddy. So, Connor, this is what we do. We call it the Summit Squad. We do our top 4. And I have a feeling you're a FNAF guy. That's how you found us. So what I'd like for you to do is start putting down in the comments as we walk this thing along, 4, 3, 2, 1, your favorite video game movies of all time. Yes. And if you hang around with us, we do video games, movies, TV, food, nostalgia, music, and sports. So if you like any of that, you're welcome to stay around. All right, Christian, this is what you're up now. 11 people in the chat. And you guys following along, tell us your number 4 as Christian's going to drop in the chat his number 4. So, Christian, this is what we like to say is the criteria. It wasn't the best word we came up with, but it's what stuck. It's basically, what were you thinking when you're like, what are the best video game movies of all time in your opinion? So just give us a little criteria, and then you're going to start with Rosie. If you forget, it's right here on the shirt.
Yeah, I gave you guys a word bank.
Yeah, give him the word bank. Right here. So, Christian, you're up. Oh, man, I took him off. I hit the wrong button.
But you were just heightening that mystery. This
is why Andy usually controls the camera, and I don't.
So I grew up in the 80s. You know, I was a teenager in the 80s and watching all that stuff. My criteria for video game movies, it's about the things that I feel like that it's pushed the genre forward, right? And I've noticed, I was doing some research, and it's really only in the 2020s has the video game, there's like 4 or 5 or 6 of them that have been made this decade so far, and it's about a quarter of the video games that have been made ever. So it's really ramping up right now, but that had to start somewhere, right? And so my criteria kind of went back. I went back to my childhood. I looked around at some of the game or the movies that kind of started this whole trend. And my Rosie, it has to be a little movie called The Last Starfighter.
Nice.
Last Starfighter. So, you know, it starred Lance Guest. Also, Robert Preston played Centauri. Dan O'Harley was Grigg, and Catherine Mary Stewart played his girlfriend. And the whole premise of this movie is that this guy's playing a video game, and he gets the high score, and he blows the doors on this arcade game. But it's really a recruitment tool for this evil empires trying to take over basically a federation of planets. And they find this guy who maxes out the high score, and they come and they get him, recruit him, take him to space, teach him how to fly these gun stars, they call them, to basically help them defeat the enemy. You know, things go crazy. He doesn't want to do it. He goes home. They end up destroying the starfighter's base. He is the last starfighter, and he ends up having to save the day. And it was really one of the first movies about video games. It came out in 1984. So that is my Rosie. It has stuck with me all this time, and it really is set the premise for using a video game as a recruitment tool.
Yeah. So let me jump in and go. All right, you are already starting on the length that I like to think, because usually when we do these things, there's a wrench somewhere. And speaking of wrenches, I just gave everybody wrenches in the chat.
Hey, there you go.
And that means you're a moderator. You can hang out and go follow everybody. Like, go follow, subscribe to everybody, and support them. We're all creators. We're all on a small-time budget, and this community is fantastic. So with that being said, there's always a wrench we kind of throw. And when we were originally thinking about this, you're like, video game. We have a video game, X video game, and then they make a movie about it. Well, this one's a little different. This is a movie that is kind of based around the idea of gaming and a little science fiction. And it's one of the best science fiction movies of all time.
Yeah.
On top of it being one of my favorite 80s movies of all time. I'm the 80s guy, Christian. He's the 90s guy. So I'm going to really love probably what you're doing today, Christian. And Andy, you might love what Joseph's doing today. I'm proud.
I love what everyone's doing today. I'm just a lover, you know? So
that's it.
So I don't know if I love this movie because I don't think listen, this is your blind spot. I'm way too young for. I'm looking at it. This happens a lot. I Google what because
I'm with you.
Here's the deal. Here's the deal. There's movies that I love, and if I love a movie, I watch it a million times. And so I don't have like a wide depth of film that I've watched. But the films that I love, man, I can tell you, I will watch them nonstop.
So he sent me a message the other day.
Well,
a screenshot. It's TV. Yeah. And he's like, I'm starting again. And I'm like, gosh, really? What was this? 20th, 30th?
It's probably legitimately the 15th time I've watched The Office, all the way through.
All the way through.
I'm not even like that's probably not even exaggerating.
Anyways,
it's good, man.
So Joseph, are you do you have a Last Starfighter opinion?
Last Starfighter, no, I don't. I didn't watch that one.
There you go,
I didn't see that one.
See,
Yeah.
Put it on the list. Put it on the list.
Right above my head.
Team 2000 here. Here we go. Yeah, Last Starfighter, man, great movie, classic. It probably broke some boundaries and some ground back in when it came out.
It was one of the first movies to actually use CGI. It was
I remember that. Right. And look, as we're talking in the chat, my man Sith down here, he posted. All you guys are saying hello. I love all that. We got Lara Croft talking in here. We got Resident Evil. Some of those are probably going to be mentioned, but my man Sith said he saw The Last Starfighter in theaters back in the day. Yep. So that kind of gives away how old he is. And if you come around with him, one of the reasons he's jumped from 13 to 140-ish thousand people is because of the Super Mario Brothers. And so he posted in here that he's a little partial to Super Mario Brothers because it's a lot of his content.
There you go.
And so if you like Mario Brothers or anything like that, man, go check his stuff out. He's a big comic book guy. Where the spine ticks comes from. We got 15 people in chat. Say hello in the comments, guys, and we will definitely catch up. We're usually on 2 different cameras, so we're doing 2 different jobs. So today we're kind of trying to figure out where we're at. Random Rips is killing it down here in the comments. Yeah. But all right, Joseph, you're up now. First things first, you got to tell the world about your criteria, what you were thinking when you were picking this this criteria of games, movies, video game movies, and then we're going to go jump into Rosie. You're number 4.
Okay. What was I thinking when you guys picked the criteria? Or we all
what were you thinking when you said these were your top 4 movies? Like, why these 4? Like, why would you, like, for instance, where you're from, what type of movie you like, that kind of thing.
The films that I have picked for these top 4 and video games coincide with each other because they've meant a lot to me over the years. Not only from whenever I was a young child, but growing up and seeing that cinema got better and almost by testing the boundaries in CGI or special effects by adapting video game films very well. And I think that they do video game adaptations a lot better than they do book adaptations.
No, nice.
Okay. All right.
I like that criteria. Dennis is in the house. I didn't see him. Kind of passed him up. Dennis, I'm sorry, but wonder if Double Dragon's going to make it. I hope you saw my little comment on the bottom of our little deal. It's not out there yet. Here, let me show you. See if you can read it. It's in small print.
I changed it.
Oh, you changed it?
It still says Double Dragon.
Oh, but action. It said Double Dragon or I Riot. Yeah. So here we go, man. Now it's your turn. This is your number 4. We call it the line in the sand. So here's the thing. Once you tell us your 4, it's only going up from there. You can't put any other new guy on. You've kind of nailed it out. And most of us know our number 1, probably our number 2. 3 and 4 gets a little murky depending on who you want off the list or not. Who's your number 4?
And this is for video game adapted films.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Number 4.
My number 4. And we're counting up 4, 3, 2, 1 being the best, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Mario Brothers.
Wow.
Okay. Time out.
Okay. All right.
Which one?
All right. Yeah.
The original. The
90s.
John Leguizamo.
Yeah.
Oh,
there we
nice.
go. There
All
we
right.
go.
What do you like about this movie?
Small head Koopa Troopas.
Yeah.
Oh, man. It was. I think my favorite thing was the way that they took what they had. They didn't have Mario 64. They didn't have Mario Sunshine, Mario Galaxy, Mario. They didn't have all of that. All they had was the old 2D Mario games. And they took what they had there and they turned that crazy freaking story out, right?
Yeah.
So, that being said, I think John Leguizamo might have given his best acting performance of his career in that movie.
What does that say about John Leguizamo?
What is the movie?
No, he's a great actor. He's a great actor, but he just did so much acting in that film. Like, whenever he's teleporting back and forth, to like dissolving into he's the best acting ever.
What?
And I'm like, dude.
The Pest.
The Pest.
The Pest was amazing. That right there was my favorite John Leguizamo movie of all time. But
and he was the clown in Spawn.
I was gonna say Spawn was actually.
But they didn't give him much face time in Spawn, and he was in makeup. And you put anybody in that character. Was it the Violator? You can put anybody in that character. But,
yeah.
And the Pest was all hilarious. It was just something about that Mario Brothers movie, man. He did it like it wasn't Mario. He did it like it was like.
I will say this. Super Mario, the 90s version, I guess. What year did this come out? 92? Was it 92? Yep. Like that. Has a great cast. I mean, you said Leguizamo, but you got Hoskins. You got Hopper as Bowser, which is not Jack Black, but it is definitely Bowser.
It's also not really Bowser.
Yeah, and that was the thing. He's kind of like, I don't know.
But I know Bowser, but it's not what we all want.
Hey, so you know what I would really love? I don't hate this movie. A lot of people do hate this movie. It was on my Benjamins. So this is the first one off my Benjamins gone. I will say this. Well, actually, both Starfighter was on my Benjamins as well.
Yeah.
But I will say this. What I wish would have happened with this movie is this is one of those times I wish we would have got a sequel. And I wish that sequel would have like made Bowser into the real Bowser.
Yeah.
It would have like if show how Dennis Hopper as a human actually became King Koopa himself.
Wasn't there now I don't know all the details, and Dylan just said it was like a fever dream. Wasn't there like some controversy on set? Like did they change directors or producers halfway through? Like I remember reading something about like why it's as bad. So
no, I think it It was director's of photography or something. It was someone who was filming.
Something happened in the middle of the
No, or it was a CGI. That's what it was. It was like the whole CGI team. The entire CGI team was wiped.
So they lost all the CGI that they could have made.
So they started, instead of teleporting them through the pipes like they were going to do, they just had them dissolve.
Ninja Turtles was out around this time, and I just feel that we could have had a Bowser like that. I mean, like, am I wrong? Am I wrong?
No, listen, we need a Bowser like that. Live action, real Bowser. God.
This movie crawled so that a movie that we'll probably mention later could arrive.
You know, that movie.
We need the PG-13 Mario Brothers movie.
That movie was the first actual video game adaptation that was ever made.
Real quick,
before Double Dragon.
Real quick before Davey leaves. Hey, Davey, you dropping the link in for, I'm guessing, Louisiana RetroCon. But we are going to, about halfway point, we always do a couple commercials. We're going to do a commercial for Louisiana RetroCon today. So if you stick around, we'll let you know all about that. All right, Andy. So you're up, man. You're Rosie. Tell us your criteria.
Yeah, criteria, I kept it very simple. I had to, so I say simple. It actually made it a little bit more difficult for me. I had to have played the video game and enjoyed the video game, but also watched the movie and enjoyed the movie. So it has to be kind of like a whole picture here. One of them, I'm going to stretch a little bit. I mean, I have to do that. I always throw those in there. I don't think you're going to disagree with me. You're not going to disagree with me that it's a video game movie. But, yeah, we'll talk about that when we get there. It's not this first one. So simple, but it kind of made it difficult and narrowed it down. I had to like the video game, had to like the movie too. And my first one, I'm so glad, Joseph, that you mentioned. I'm not crushmoring here. I'm not going to do that. But I'm going to go along the same lines in maybe the critical reviews of this movie and the love/hate of this movie. I'm a 90s kid, early 2000s. That was kind of my wheelhouse of time. And in that, my dad.
I know what you're about to do.
My dad and I, this is a long story, and it's going to get to a point. My dad and I were really big fans of Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Yes.
And the reason it is because we would always be like that popcorn gallery, just like making fun of movies, quoting stuff, making jokes, just, you know, making fart noises halfway through, like just all that kind of stuff. I love Mystery Science Theater. So this movie is one of those that we would watch with that mindset. It's so bad that it's good. You know what I mean? Like when you have that movie that's just, it's not good at all, but it's because it's so bad, it's so good. And I had to. There was no way. And I just put it at my Rosie because, you know, hey, let's get this one out of the way. Let me, sorry, scroll down to my notes that I have for it. I had to put this one on there. And I'm going to 1994's Street Fighter.
I knew it.
Street Fighter.
Nice.
Oh. Jean-Claude Van Damme as Mr. America, Guile in this one. Right. That's
right.
The
so
perfect
that's
casting.
The first problem.
That's
but nowadays this would be standard.
Yeah.
But this is the first problem with it.
Yeah. Also Kylie Minogue.
I mean, isn't he Austrian or something?
Yeah.
Also Kylie Minogue.
USA. But here's the deal. Obviously, the video game Street Fighter, loved it. I mean, it was just, I loved Street Fighter. Growing up, playing the video game, you know, always just button mashing and just having a blast. It was one of my favorite fighting games as a kid. Again, you grew up in the 90s. You couldn't avoid playing Street Fighter, right? I would say that I'm out of all the Street Fighters that have come out, this is my favorite movie that came out of all of them because it's so bad. Unfortunately, in my personal opinion, many of the Street Fighter movies that have come out have not. They should be so good. They should be so good, and they just haven't for whatever reason. But I would say I just love this movie because it's so bad. Because it's so bad. Because it's so campy, and because the quotes and just the goofiness of this movie, it's not taking itself too seriously. It's not like a gritty reboot of Street Fighter, which I'm all for if they're going to do that too. But I love this movie for all those reasons. particularly because of Jean-Claude Van Damme. But again, Kylie Minogue.
Kylie Minogue.
Yeah, the pop singer herself played Cammy. So
I forgot that. Yeah. Oh my goodness! Look, first off, Gomez Adams is the bad guy.
Yeah, and he Raul Julia.
Yeah, he did pass.
Yeah. That was his last role, I think. Raul Julia.
Yeah, he was like sick during it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I love him as an actor, but like when I'm thinking M. Bison, have you seen the cartoon anime for this? M. Bison looks, I mean, he's like super jacked. He looks like he's in Dragon Ball Z. And then you bring Gomez Adams. I don't know what's going on. And then you got Guile, flat top. Like, what's happening in this?
And then E Honda has like Hawaiian.
Oh yeah, he's like a Hawaiian.
He's
guy.
Hawaiian. What did they do to E Honda? He's a skinny Hawaiian. What are we doing?
Oh, I love it.
But it's just for all those reasons. It has a nostalgia to me that I'll go back and watch this movie. I like it actually because it's so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So guys, tell us about this. What do your experience? I'm assuming Christian has more experience with this because it's a little older, but
I saw it. But you know, it's funny because it was a little campy and over the top. But if you think about it, that was the original super movie, like the Avengers.
Yeah.
These characters that probably had no business working together, but yet they did for this film. And Ming-Na Wen was in this movie. Ming-Na Wen was Chun-Li.
Right?
You know, here she's got this heyday, and when I remembered that she was actually in this film, it blew my mind. But this is one of those films that you love to hate. You know, I love to hate it. Of course,
for me it was.
I love to hate Jean-Claude Van Damme as often as possible.
But was she the main leads of that movie too? Right?
What's that?
I said the Chun-Li character was one of the main leads too. They followed their story.
Yes. Apparently, Van Damme drank a lot of Coca-Cola during this. Man, I was a big Van Damme fan. We talked about action. We talked about action heroes already. We've already had an action heroes.
Is fantastic,
and Van Damme's on my list. Yeah. Got a kid in my kindergarten. His name's Von Don.
I love
and every time he comes in, I go, "Welcome to the Kumite, Jean-Claude." He's a little first grader. He loves it. And look, so I'll just say this, man. I love this movie. I love this movie. It is not in my top 4.
I know it's not.
Because I knew you were picking it because he mentioned it already. Joseph, what do you know? Oh, Joseph jumped out for a second. That's fine.
He just went to go see the movie.
Oh.
You'll catch all you really need to catch of it in about 5 minutes. You'll understand.
So there he is. There he is. Joseph.
He got so offended that I picked
Joseph.
Yeah, no, they just froze. On my screen, I was the only person that didn't freeze, and I was like, whoa, this is weird.
Yeah, there you are. So, Joseph, tell us about Street Fighter. What you know?
I'd have to go. I'm not going to crush more.
Do you like the movie?
It's okay. You won't offend me if you say you don't like it.
My wife said she loved the movie.
Yeah,
I think that was.
Hey, look,
happy wife, happy life.
Way to go, Brittany. See, hey, look, my wife's
once again that's Jean-Claude
too, Joseph. So I know those Brittany's. They have strong opinions.
Well, I think once again that's like we talked about video game actors. I think Jean-Claude did great acting in that movie. I think despite what I think of the movie, that's probably Jean-Claude's top-notch acting.
So here's for all my wrestling friends. Anyone used to think Rob Van Dam, the RVD, was his brother? Yeah, I kind of did for a little bit.
I never once thought. I knew that he was.
Well, I mean,
there's no way.
But no, like I'm not as necessarily brother. Like they got the gimmick from. Like they were trying
muscles from Brussels.
The muscles from there. It is Brussels. That's what he's from. Man, DJ Wise is in the house laughing. Yeah, man. So I'm gonna jump into mine. Number 4. All right. So, similar criterias. Gotta love it. Gotta love the game. I do love all the games. But here's the thing. I'm kind of gonna tip into a little bit of what Christian did, and my movies are all video game movies, but they're not all necessarily based off of a video game.
Yeah. See,
okay, so
we
Last
chatted
Starfighter,
a little bit. Yeah.
Last Starfighter wasn't based off a video game; it was a video game movie.
No, I get that. Yeah,
now
for sure.
I'm not going to go off the rails completely, but there are 2 movies I have to add on this list.
Yeah,
and I'm probably going to crush with you in my 2. And my first one off my mountain, my Rosie. I went and saw this in theaters. I went and saw this movie in the theater.
Say it. Do it.
And has one of the best soundtracks of all time.
Maybe not what I'm thinking, but go ahead.
Best soundtracks of all time. It was the answer to Street Fighter. It was the answer, but a little bit more bloody, a little more or whatever. But I'm going with the original Mortal Kombat. Yeah, bro. I'm all about it. Was in the theater when Scorpion came out and that thing came out again. Get over here, bro. When that came out, I was like, "What?" Now look, it's still campy.
Very.
And listen,
not Annihilation. You're going.
I'm going number 1.
You're going number 1.
Number 2, I can still live with it. And even the new one, I love that. I love the whole Goro thing, and he gets punched in the junk because that a lot of people got upset about that. They're like, you can't make Goro look like a sissy like this.
He was horrible.
Oh yeah, but listen, you had Liu Kang like flying, doing the bicycle kick. I'll never forget that. So I'm going again, probably the first video game movie I ever saw in the theaters.
That's so good.
It was, I feel like it was high school time. I was probably a sophomore or junior about that time. But anyways, Mortal Kombat.
I agree.
Yeah. So
what do you guys think about Mortal Kombat?
Listen,
Christian, you can go first.
I think Mortal Kombat set the bar for all of the video game movies going forward.
Yeah,
I do.
I tried to nail each one of those characters. Kano was one of my favorites.
I think it was the first time that was successful in the box office to boot. I think that was the first time they actually made a profit, and they're like going, "Oh, well, there's some feasibility," and they spent a little bit of money getting production value on this one too.
And then Annihilation came out. And
then we were back to square one.
Oh, and then you had Raiden, which was Mr. Highlander himself.
Yeah.
Mr. Lambert, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Christopher Lambert.
And his voice, he's one of those guys I'd like to have narrate my my autobiography.
Right.
What's the scene?
He's got a cool voice.
Is it in this one or is it Annihilation where Jax is in like the techno club in the beginning? Is that or somebody's in the? It's very much like Blade almost in the beginning. Like there's
probably,
or maybe Sonya is. I don't know. One of them is, but no, this is a fantastic movie.
Love it. So in the chat, you guys love. Looks like we're loving Mortal Kombat a little bit. I love that movie. The Scorpion versus Cage fight is so awesome. We don't talk about Annihilation. We don't talk about Annihilation.
So funny story though. I was doing some research, and now take this for what it is. It's Rotten Tomatoes, and I get it, but it does at least shed some light on what people may think about it. I think it got a 9. Annihilation got 9%.
A 9.
Rotten Tomatoes. Like
so we're gonna fact check. So.
I think it was very low. It was one of the lowest rated ones for sure. Annihilation. They recast, and then they just like the worst part is that Raiden's a different actor in Annihilation, and they don't even try to hide it. He comes out and he says, "Like my haircut." Like they didn't even give him the hair. What in the world did they do? I think Sonya's different. Sonya's Veronica Vaughn. And the first one, that Veronica Vaughn, you know? Yeah, it's a good movie.
Let's see. Rating.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Rotten Tomatoes?
I think Annihilation got a 9. And yeah.
24%.
No way. Okay, maybe it was somewhere else.
Oh, whoa. The tomato meter, though, gets 4%.
4%.
Audience score was 24%. So he got a 4.
Yeah, well, listen, the audience saying 24, that's not good. The audience is a lot better than the tomato meter.
While you're doing that, Joseph, what you think about Mortal Kombat while we're fact checking this one?
Can you guys see me?
I can see you for sure.
I can't see you guys anymore.
Oh no! Oh, what's going on?
I can still hear you. So
there you go. You're in.
I'll put the camera again.
I love Mortal Kombat so much. It's just something I don't know on this end. I guess probably internet problems.
Well,
it is. We got the best internet ever.
Yeah. Mortal Kombat's great. What did Street Fighter get? Just out of curiosity.
Street Fighter 2, the animated movie, got 80%, right, but the non-animated movie got 11 from the tomato meter and 20 on
Street Fighter was better than Mortal Kombat according to Rotten Tomatoes.
Annihilation.
Yeah, let's differentiate.
Yeah,
let's differentiate because Mortal Kombat.
It's the small victories.
That's apple. That's grapes versus sour grapes. They're not even they're the same, but not the same.
So what did I think about the original Mortal Kombat?
Got
yeah,
right here. No, that's Annihilation. Right here.
All right, so I went to see the original Mortal Kombat with my dad. It was the only movie me and my dad ever saw in theaters. Other than
nice.
Oh,
what happened?
Those two movies in theaters together.
Nice.
But we were in the middle of seeing that one, and right when they got off the boat to the island, right? Whenever they already gathered up all the fighters and they were getting off the boat, the big door to the boat opens up. Sonya Blade and Jax are standing right there, and the door opens up, and it's like bright light coming through the door as it opens. Yeah. And then all of a sudden we see.
Oh yeah, Melina.
And they came over the intercom. And they're like, we're having technical difficulties right now.
Oh no!
And they let everyone in the theaters out into the lobby. So for like 10, 15 minutes, we're all sitting in the lobby like, what happened next? We're like,
Raiden thunderstruck that film, man. It just burned a hole in it.
The underworld.
It was nuts. So I'll never forget that moment ever. So that played a big part of my life.
Nice. Dude, some of the best. One of our favorites. So we have two favorite words here, guys, which I didn't share them with you. It's both iconic and nostalgic. And a lot of what we talk about here has to do with that because of our experiences with our dad and our brothers and sisters. Okay. So that's a lot of reasons why people would even pick these. I mean, if we're going to give you our top four, the top four, probably we can all probably peg it pretty good. All right, so
Street Fighter's probably not. I don't know that Mortal Kombat might not make it either.
So Christian, you're up. You're going to come with your number 3 on the list. This is now we don't need to talk criteria. We can just jump on in. We call Thomas Jefferson TJ Jazzy Jeff.
Yeah.
And what's your number 3?
Well, my Thomas Jefferson. See, so I struggled because the criteria aspect that I was looking at to name these films had to do with a lot to do with nostalgia and a lot to do with my experiences coming up. But this film that I'm about to name, it really has had an impact on my life that I can't deny. And so, listen, I'm gonna have to say that my TJ is none other than my best friend, Five Nights at Freddy's. I mean, come on. It would be number 1, except I've got to not be biased. But Five Nights at Freddy's is absolutely, it's my my TJ. It was debatable where it was going to land on my list, but I had to sit down and think about some nostalgic aspects and about how what I think things meant to me and to video games in general and video games movie and to the cinema. But Five Nights, that's my Thomas.
Yeah. Now, hold on one second. With that being said, we've got 15 people in the chat. Some of them may have never seen this movie. Okay. Sure. I want to share with them a little clip. Here we go. And
I've seen that somewhere before.
We got one more for everybody out there.
Come on.
There it is, man. The money maker.
I've heard that somewhere before.
So can you divulge how many takes did these things take? How many takes did that screen take?
I'll give you a little. So that scene, the scene where the screaming and all that stuff, that wasn't how it was written. So basically, as written, I was supposed to be whistling Toreador, which is the one of the songs from the game, and destroying the pizzeria. Literally walking around with my baseball bat, throwing tables, cracking windows, destroying gumball machines. And it all changed when in that scene that you saw where it's myself and Joseph's being attacked by the cupcake, and I look up and I see Chica turn and squint, and I had not seen the animatronics, and so I screamed. And the scream that I screamed was legitimately different than anything I'd ever done in my life. And I came out with this high-pitched squeal that I don't know where it came from. It was original and in the moment. And the director, Emma Tammy, she asked me if I could do that scream again. I'm like, yeah. And so I did it all day long. And so because of that, everything quickly shifted to the screen. And the scream, that was when I saw it in the movie theater, was the first time I saw that. And it cracked me up. It blew my mind. So for anybody that had any questions about that.
Yeah. So Joseph, how about you? How long did that scene take you? What's going on? We can hear you. Oh, there we go. We can hear you. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
There you go. We can hear you, bud.
We got you. So tell me about that scene.
I don't know what's going on, you guys. It just completely crashed on my side.
Oh. How about now?
Barry said, "Now, nice sound effects, Joseph."
Yeah. Can you hear us, Joseph?
I don't think he can hear us, but I'll send him a text, see if he can hear us.
It's all good. It's all good. So we got 17 folks in the chat. So, yeah, tell us what you guys think about Five Nights at Freddy's. If you've seen the movie, you played the games, tell us what your experiences are.
I'll say this with the video game side of things. So I taught, and I know that you're currently teaching, but even when I was teaching junior high, it was so interesting with Five Nights at Freddy's. I never really played the video game. So, but I will tell you that it doesn't matter what clique or group that these kids were in. Every single one of them knew Five Nights at Freddy's. Yeah. Every single one of them enjoyed it and was playing it and was doing all kinds of stuff. So it was kind of cool because it felt like, whether you enjoy the game or not, whatever, but it felt like one that could kind of like bridge groups together. Like it didn't matter. They all kind of enjoyed it. So
Joseph, can you hear us now?
I can hear you.
Woo! Hear you. We can hear you. Hey, so tell me, we played your little clip of Cupcake taking you down. Tell us a little bit about that scene.
Oh man, what do you guys want to know?
How long did it take? Well, I mean, like, how many takes did you do? What was something? Did you ad lib it all like Christian did? What's going on?
We ad libbed a lot. Funny thing is, they sent me the audition, and I was supposed to have ketchup hit the back of my head. I spin around, and then Chica actually lunges at me. That's all you were going to see. And then whenever I got the script, after I got the part, when I got the script, it said that the cupcake eats my head off, and that Hank was going to try to save the day, right? But then we got on set, they said that the way that it had it set up in script didn't play out cinematically enough on camera. So I think if they weren't open to things like that, if they weren't open to things being changed at the last minute, then they probably would have not had such an incredible film. Because like most filmmakers don't do that. Most filmmakers are very strict and want to stay to the script exactly what they had, And here Emma was able, like at one point I told her there's a dog barking in a scene, and I told her I said, if we're hearing this dog barking for a while, I might be like this punk who's annoyed by the dog barking and just wants to put the headphones in, So I asked her, I was like, hey, can you guys give me some headphones? And she's like, yeah, sure. She was so about it. And because of that, when we got into the kitchen scene, the part where I say, yeah, Goldman and Christian does the whoo, the hoot part.
Yeah.
And that part was all improv too. In the actual script, we were supposed to be silent and we were supposed to walk into that scene, just look around, give a head nod, and walk off. But she was like, it just doesn't feel natural. I want you guys to be sitting here talking before you go and do the duty. So there's a lot of stuff like that was really cool. Yeah. When the cupcake, when it came to that point, I wanted to kind of not see the animatronics as long as I could go without not seeing them. But then that day, earlier in the day, they were like, look, we need to do like stunt rehearsals with the cupcake on your head. And I was like, oh, so you guys are going to have the cupcake eat my head off. It's like, yes.
You were kind of mentioning in the interview that we had at Louisiana RetroCon that you were kind of making cupcake move and things like that with your mouth and like trying to with your tongue and doing stuff like that.
No, not my tongue. We didn't get that frisky.
Make a spicy cupcake.
Yeah, it wasn't that kind of cupcake kiss.
Wasn't that kind of kiss?
Well, I will say this. I was watching the monitor while that was going on. I was watching them film the scene with the cupcake on his face. And the movement he was doing with his jaw made the cupcake rocking and moving on his face. And everybody was like, how's it doing that? How's it doing that? That's not animated. It's not animated. How's it doing that? They were freaking out that the cupcake was really eating his face somehow. So, and that was all Joseph just moving his face muscles to make that thing move. It looks so cool, man. That's what you see.
That's awesome. I will say this, and no disrespect to the movie because I've actually watched it a couple times now. Because of this, I went to prepare. I used Five Nights at Freddy's for our message, our very first reboot message, which we'll talk about reboot shortly, which is that down there in the corner by Joseph. But being a light in the darkness is what we did. And then, but this movie is in probably my top 10, but not in my top 4. It's probably in the 6 or so range, where I would land it. Mainly 1, because I know you guys, and 2, I'm a teacher and my kids talk nonstop about this stuff. I give my kids nicknames, and almost every kid gets a nickname. Like I was talking about my man Jean-Claude Van Damme. And when I allow the 4th and 5th graders to pick names, they all pick Freddy and Bonnie and Foxy, and I'm like, who are these people? And then I was like, what are you even talking about? And then I finally found out it is such a craze what's going on.
Oh yeah, big time.
I've never played the games, but to prepare for the message and to meet you guys and all that stuff, I watched a playthrough of 2 of the games, the security breach and the second location. I watched both the playthroughs of those 2, and then I watched some clips on the other ones. So it's pretty cool, man. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Well, I tell you, I'd never played the games until I got on set, and then I downloaded. I was actually playing Five Nights at Freddy's the first time while I was filming the movie, and I had Joseph. Joseph is in my ear, filling me in with all the stuff. I'm like going, what? Playing the game, talking to Joseph, filming my scenes, playing the game, talking to Joseph, filming my scenes, and that's I'm talking about. We were having Five Nights at Freddy's boot camp while we were shooting.
The games are a lot of like mini cut scenes and jump scares and all this stuff, and it's just filled with that. But then the ones I watched, which is the not the sister location one, but the other one, it brings it to like a whole new level. Like the graphics are elevated completely, and they got like, and then I think Freddy's like a good guy in that one. I was watching the playthrough, kind of running from Chica. But awesome stuff, man. So
we are now at
Joseph. Joseph, what's your number 3 on your list?
Okay, so I want to reiterate. I thought we were doing like it was completely video game themed at first. So I was like, okay, top 4 video game movies.
Yeah,
it would be a little different list if it was like number 3 favorite film at all.
No, video game movies. We're gonna stay with video game movies, but anything that has to do with video game movies.
Number 3 would have to be. I mean, God, it's hard to pick between these few. Double Dragon.
Double Dragon. Going old school again. Double Dragon or we riot. Now, he's on Super Mario 80s and Double Dragon 80s. He's totally early 90s stuff. This is a fun movie. Now, what kills me about this one is the Abobos, right? The Abobo, the big muscle bound guys, they have muscle on top of muscle, and the muscle's over his forehead. It's quite interesting. Double Dragon, we've mentioned this before in action and beat 'em ups. One of my favorite games of all time.
Yeah.
What
you think about what you like about that movie though, Joseph?
It's in my top 3 of all video game movies. Like I said when we first started talking in the episode, these aren't movies that are my favorite movies.
Right.
They're my favorite video game movies because they left a mark in my life somehow.
Yeah.
The ending of that movie is one of the worst endings of any movie I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It is pretty
bad. The ending of that movie is so bad that I watched it. That was the first movie I ever watched as a kid and went, I'm not going to watch that again. It was the first time. But because of that, I went back and watched it as an adult, laughed, appreciated it as a filmmaker, and it's inspiring. You watch that film and you go, oh, I could do anything.
There you go. Nice.
I can do anything.
Speaking of inspirational, just a plug for next week. We're talking about inspirational movies. Right?
Inspirational movies. Yeah.
Is next. Maybe
so
Double
next
Dragon
week, and I saw Retromaniac in the comments. Are you still out there, Retromaniac? Retromaniac is actually going to be on our show next week, and we're doing inspirational movies. So something that really got you going, emotionally, and maybe encouraged you to do something. There he is. Yes, sir. So he's going to be our guest next week, Retromaniac, Mr. Hufstetler. So he's coming on, and we're going to do that. Come and hang out with Retromaniac. He actually is a video game reseller on Facebook Marketplace and things like that, and eBay. And so come and follow us next week for that one.
Christian, you like Double Dragon?
Yeah, so there was a period of time that I spent a couple of years out of the country, and there were some movies that I missed. I spent a year in Taiwan and 2 years in Germany, and I missed Double Dragons. I didn't get a chance to see that in the theaters, but I remember I believe it had Robert Patrick in it. It was like his pre, and then it had Mark what's his last name? Dacascos. So I've done a film with Mark Dacascos, and it was like an action. All it was explosions. There was no storyline to our movie. It was just everything blew up. So I think I got my butt kicked by Mark and his female sidekick, and then everything blew up. So that's what I didn't see the movie. I still haven't seen the movie. So I need to go check this out for
the person you guys missed that was in the movie was probably my young teenage self, heartthrob, Alyssa Milano.
Whoa, me too, buddy.
Alyssa Milano, who's the boss, baby. Yeah. So she was in it as well. That makes
I obviously didn't see that because I would have remembered that.
But one of my favorite parts about this movie was their truck. It was like this oversized Tonka truck of a Bigfoot. It was crazy. But Double Dragon, great movie. I'm gonna say this is not on my list anymore.
This was a Benjamin of mine that you're taking.
It was a Benjamin for nostalgic reasons.
Oh yeah,
but I don't know that I've watched it more than twice. Probably both times looking for Alyssa in the movie.
That's the only reason I'm gonna go watch it now.
So, but if I had nostalgia like I do with some of the other movies, I know I would love it. Yeah, it's just one of those 80s staples.
Yeah.
So, or even maybe early 90s. I bet it's early 90s when this movie came out. But let's see, 94.
Yeah,
so I was in high school. Yeah, I was in high school.
I was 5.
Nice. So, all right. So, Andy, you're up, man. You're up.
All right. So, this is my one movie today, somewhat along the lines of like not solely based off of a licensed video game. However, there are some licensed video game characters sprinkled off.
Oh, man.
And I'm going to 2012's Wreck-It Ralph.
Oh,
Wreck-It Ralph is such a fantastic movie. It's so well written. John C. Reilly. I love John C. Reilly. Hey man, he's hilarious in everything that he does. Sarah Silverman is great in this movie. Just all of the kind of cameos. I love the whole idea of like a villain, but like we see the human side of them when the arcades close. It's very much like Toy Story. Like, you know, you put your toys down, they come to life. You turn the arcade off. Hey, where do they live? I mean, just so brilliantly written. Like the whole idea that the surge protector is like Grand Central Station. For, like,
yeah, I love that.
You see the thing, the new, you know, it's just cool. I mean, all of the other guys that you get to see, you know, Fix It Felix. What's the guy that played? I love that guy. He was in 30 Rock. What's his name?
The guy who played Fix It Felix.
Oh, I know you're talking about.
I forget his name, but he's hilarious. He's the same guy in every movie that he does, but he's so funny. Jack McBrayer. That's it. Jack
McBrayer.
Lynch. Yeah, I mean, just gosh, I can go on forever. You know, you get Sonic, you get Zangief, you get all of these guys in this movie. I like the when they're having like kind of like intervention, like AA, the AA meeting, kind of like for the villains. And hey, just because you're a bad guy doesn't mean you're a bad guy. Like, this movie is so good, so well written. And then I will say this too, when I was a teacher, at the end of the year we have like testing and stuff. This is a movie that consistently was a movie I was putting in for our students. So
yeah,
I love this movie.
Real quick, Retro Maniac, I was on the edge of my seat. You were like, my video game Mount Rushmore is, and you were holding it out. But man, that's 4 great movies.
That's a fantastic. I was holding my breath this whole time.
That's 4 great ones. Hey, so I'll just say this. I've mentioned this before. You guys as actors can probably appreciate. Actually, I know you appreciate this. What I love, especially in a cartoon, is when it's brilliantly written with tons of side things going on, side stories, pieces, little Easter eggs all over the place.
Yeah.
When we talked about Shrek, right, and Lego Movie, this Wreck-It Ralph kind of uses the same template.
Yeah.
Just lots of stuff. I mean, you can watch the movie and
get something new every time.
Nothing to do with what's going on around.
And it's different levels. I mean, it entertains the kids and it entertains the adults. Like these double entendres that the kids don't catch, the adults do, but it still works from the kids too. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
It's excellent writing.
Yeah, it's like, that's hilarious. And you're like, Dad, I don't know who Sonic is, or I don't know who that guy is. And you're like, oh, yeah. I love when they're like, when the bricks are just piling up, and it's just like it's all like behind the scenes of the video game. That's cool. Yeah. Good movie, man. Good movie. Joseph, you like Wreck-It Ralph?
I do like Wreck-It Ralph a whole lot. You guys took the words out of my mouth though. The Sonic cameo is my favorite part of the whole movie, probably.
Oh yeah. I like how Sonic is like he's a know-it-all in this movie. Well, actually.
Now wait, did you like part 2? I'm assuming that's not on your mind because you don't usually do that. You don't usually boom booms, but
no, this is don't hate me for this. I watched Wreck-It Ralph 1 probably 5 or 6 times.
Okay, so yeah, it's a good movie.
I only watched part 2 once, and I can't remember it.
Ralph breaks the internet. Ralph breaks the internet.
Yeah, I can remember parts of it. Like I remember he got sucked into a web page, and like I can't remember much of that one. I think the first one is way more. Y'all like the word iconic.
Dylan, you make your own criteria.
This is a great philosophical question. Dylan.
Does Lego Indiana Jones make Indiana Jones a video game movie? Sure, I guess. I mean, if that's really where we're going to go.
No, I would say Lego Indiana Jones, maybe.
Oh, man. DJ Wise, hang around a little bit. Hang around.
Yeah.
All right, so my turn.
It's up to you now.
We can go with the next one. And look, this is something that I've had to do, but I've got to go there, man. Man, yes! I am going with the Super Mario movie, brother.
The 90s movie. Nice.
No, just kidding. I'm going with the new Super Mario Brothers movie.
Good.
Then you didn't
crush. Yeah, I didn't crush where I was playing.
That's a fake question.
You got all dance. So look, I'm going with Super Mario Brothers movie, 2023. Jack Black, $1.36 billion. Great soundtrack, great story. It's got all the things I just talked about with Wreck-It Ralph the Mario Kart stuff and the just watching the side scroller like Mario Brothers 1, the music when he goes in the ground, everything was perfectly timed. You've got so many other Easter eggs, like we're trying to figure out if Uncle was Wario's dad and all these other things with just the story, and we're all on the edge of our seat waiting for part 2. So
I'm on the edge of my seat waiting for the Nintendo
universe, the Nintendo-verse, which is they're talking about.
Oh my gosh.
Speaking of that, there's a poll if you're on the YouTube side. There should be a poll out there asking what is your favorite video game that you want to be turned into a movie. Oh, I know. And you can suggest
easily.
More.
Easy because it's in the Nintendo-verse.
Yeah, hopefully.
Oh, if they come out with a Zelda movie, it's done.
It's on. It's on Donkey Kong.
Oh, they're working on it. They're working on it. They haven't got the release date, but I
know. I just wanted to
production.
So yeah, not necessarily a real Rushmore, but I thought that'd be fun because I already said I wasn't going Mario, but Super Mario Brothers 2023, $1.36 billion. It's in the top 10 ever.
It's the most, obviously. It's the interesting thing is that it's the highest grossing video game movie ever, and it was also ridiculously panned. The 93 version was panned critically, didn't do very well in the box office, and it's amazing that 30 years later it is
cartoon
blown up.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? It's also the highest grossing cartoon ever, right? Because it broke Frozen, right?
Oh,
it did not do that.
Sure, it did. I mean, I think so. I'd have to fact check that, but it's probably not far off.
Well, and it's like $1 billion, almost $900 million more. It's made $900 million more than the next highest video game movie, which is Detective Pikachu, I believe.
Wow.
So
crazy.
Yeah. Crazy. General Kenobi in the house. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is the first time General Kenobi's been here. I've been in his lives every once in a while. Hopefully you're still out there, General Kenobi. Listen, I was talking about I was talking about spine ticks going from 13,000 to 100 and almost 40,000 if spine ticks is still out there. General Kenobi, just over the last few weeks, has gone from 2,000, and then like 3 days later, it's like 2,500. Then like 3 days later, it's 3,000, 4,000, 4,500.
We need some of that juice.
I need some of that juice. I think he's almost at 5,000 now. He's flying.
Congrats,
congratulations, General Kenobi. General Kenobi is going to be our last host of the music of movie series. And we're going with the top 4 Jedi ever.
Wow.
Ever.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's tough.
General Kenobi, if you're still there, man, hey, you guys, if you love Star Wars stuff, go follow General Kenobi. If you're Spanish speaking, he also has a General Kenobi's bunker in Española. So, yeah, go check that out. Telemundo. He's got a Telemundo Kenobi. But anyways, welcome to the show, General Kenobi, and we'll see you soon. We'll be in your live soon, too. Congratulations. Congratulations, General Kenobi. But Mario Brothers, man, the new one.
It's so
good.
The
new one, Joseph.
We've said everything we need to.
We have said everything we need to. So I think it's time.
What is it time for?
A commercial break.
Commercial break?
Yeah, it's time for a commercial break. So let's do this. And usually Andy's off screen. It's just me by myself.
I'll go over here.
Give him the elbow.
But
I got kicked out.
Here's the thing, guys. If you've been around a while, we got 13 people in chat. Don't run off. We are not done yet. We're halfway through the show. Here's the deal. Both Andy and I are youth pastors, and we've been kind of gifted this thing to kind of the gift of gab. We love to talk, but we always wanted to figure out, hey, while we're out here on this show and kind of hanging out and with the community and having fun, not to just say we did something and spin our wheels, but to also say we love you, we believe in you, God loves you. But we started what's called Reboot, and Reboot is a ministry of an unconventional ministry where we go to the conventions and talk to them about Jesus right there on the convention floor. This is your trailer for that.
Prepare to make the jump to light speed.
They're getting closer.
Oh yeah? Watch this.
All right. Well, before you go anywhere, we actually, the first message that we did was Five Nights at Freddy's at this Louisiana RetroCon. And we talked about being, because if you ever played the game, it's there's a lot to do with the security guard, with the flashlight. We talked about shining the light in dark places. And then we followed that back up with the love of God at St. Tammany Collectors Con. And lo and behold, you're here to hear it first. This weekend, this Sunday, is the very first Nerd in the Word. You can find it down in our playlist under Reboot. And we are talking about X-Men 97.
It's so good.
It's so good, man. So look, if you haven't watched X-Men 97 yet, do it. Get up at least to halfway through it. You should be done with it by now. If you're going to get some spoilers. But if you haven't got to episode 5 yet, you probably want to do that before you watch the show. Watch it. But please go and support that that ministry. That is way more important to us than this. If you go and just support that, share it around. Anybody that you know needs prayer or just doesn't really feel like they fit in the world. Listen, we don't either. Send them our way. Tell them that there's a space that they can kind of reach out and maybe answer some questions. We got a Discord. If you look down on the, it disappeared. It disappeared. But if you look down at the bottom, Andy will bring it up. We have all the socials, man. We've got everything. We've got Facebook, Instagram, the whole 9 yards. But our favorite thing to kind of discuss those things is Discord. There's a live chat. We can chat in the Discord. Go follow it all. If you're here hanging with us, you probably want to go log in there and kind of be a part of the community. We're trying to hit those 1,000 marks on all of them. We're inching up to 1,000 on all of them, and we've already passed it in the Instagram. But on top of that, what else we want to talk about is this right here. This way, that way, right there, right there. This is what we want to talk about right here.
This one?
No, it's right here.
But it's also right here.
Yeah.
That's it.
Mm-hmm. So a Culture Box. Yeah. So we talked about Reboot. Now it's time for Culture Box. Andy, Culture Box is a bunch of friends that we've met online, just like you creators. And look, guys, you're Christian creators. And this is no diss to anybody who's not, but if you are a Christian creator, you want to be a part of something really amazing like Culture Box,
check them out. Let
us know. Go check them out. It's going to be scrolling at the bottom if you want to check them out. It's all Christian guys that are very similar to us. Really, we always say we're not a Christian podcast, but we're not a Christian podcast, right. But we are a Christian channel.
Yeah,
we are a Christian channel, and this show isn't about being Christian, but it is about loving people.
Yeah.
And so, look, if you want to hear a little bit of something, we always share one of our friends from Culture Box every week. Andy, who we got this week?
As you say, Culture Box, just real quickly, Candlebox is a really good band from the 90s.
Love Candlebox.
That's not who we're talking about right now. But all I can think when you say Culture Box is Candlebox.
Candlebox.
So far
Matchbox 20.
Matchbox 20.
Wait,
Boxcar Racer.
We could do the Rushmore of box.
The box.
Boxes. Okay. Go ahead.
Anyway, this is how our brain works. Anyway, let's talk about Retro Rewind podcast. So every other week, join the Retro Rewind pod as they travel back 15 or more years along the entertainment space-time continuum in their mission to review movies and games, establishing what is still worth your time today. Expect fun banter and trivial insights from Francisco, Paul, and rotating guest hosts who are all out of time.
Yes.
Every time I read that, though, Kurt,
Going back in time.
I feel older and older every time because the fact that 15 years is retro.
So
15 years ago, if you guys don't want to do the math right now, was what, 2009?
Nine.
2000, a niner.
Niner
was 15. So that's retro. 2009.
Holy cow, 2009. Anyway. So hey, look, now it's time to get back to the rest of the show.
Let's do
it. Hey, so last thing. Sorry, because I said I was going to do this. Louisiana RetroCon, guys. If you're in the Louisiana area, my friends Christian and Joseph here, on top of Davey, who was in here, is having Louisiana RetroCon. They do it 2 times a year. It's over in Morgan City at the Municipal Auditorium. And this year, I believe it's in October, right? I might be wrong. Last year was September. This year, I think it's October. Right. October. We're going to be there, emceeing a lot of the stuff, doing a lot of panels, things of that nature. And on top of that, Christian and Joseph will be back. Last time they had the guy who played inside of Bonnie. They had the kids that played Bonnie, played Freddy, and played Chica.
Yeah.
So they were all there too. Hopefully some of those guys get announced again. That'd be cool because it was a fun time hanging out with those guys. Come and find out some more about that and hang out with Christian, Joseph, and I, and Davey at Louisiana Retro Con. So let's get started. Look back. And here we go, man. Christian.
Oh, yeah.
Link. We talked about Zelda. He doesn't have a movie yet. This would be a great time to plug it in, but we'll have to wait for that. What is your Link? Your number 2 greatest movie of all time?
Sorry, we talked
in the video.
We said wrong. It is September 14th through 15th.
There you go. Thank you, Miss Rhonda. Thank you.
Rhonda holding us together here.
Miss Rhonda is Davey's dad. Yes, I'm Davey's mom. Sorry. Gosh. Miss Rhonda is Davey's mom.
I'm Miss Rhonda.
All right, Chris, where are you going for your number 2?
Yeah, well, so, again, I grew up in the 80s. And so these are the things that stuck with me and kind of as I went. And I think it kind of set the tone for not just video games, but the video game industry itself, not just the movies, but the video game industry itself. This particular film was iconic in the sense that it created from it. Now it's one that didn't start off as a video game, but a video game that I played the heck out of came from this movie. And this movie was 1982 Disney's Tron.
Let's do it, bro.
It's got Jeff Bridges in it. He plays Kevin Flynn, a programmer. You got Bruce Boxleitner, who plays Tron himself. It was insane. It's like this was the first usage of, along with Last Starfighter, this is the first usage of the computer graphics. And the crazy thing about this movie is that it inspired a guy by the name of John Lasseter, who ended up creating Pixar. And Pixar, that movie, he saw the potential to add computer graphics in film. He said that Toy Story would have never been made without Tron. So it literally just opened the door. And the game, I played that game. Listen, the light cycles were the coolest. I light cycled myself to death playing the Tron video.
Light cycles. Christian, have you been on the light cycle yet in Orlando?
No. Is that they got a light cycle in Orlando?
Disney World's newest best ride is Tron.
Oh,
it is fantastic.
Well, I've got it
all time, right next to Guardians of the Galaxy. If you haven't done that one yet,
which is done that one. Tron, I
brought my little guy for his first trip to Disney this year, and man, Tron was one of the ones we did multiple times. You got to book it. It's the line's so crazy. You got to book your time.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy, but Tron is awesome. So I wanted to say this. Tron's one of the first trackball games that I remember where you would pinch your hand, right? You get it all pinched in. There was a place over in Slidell. It was called Catfish Charlie's. And Catfish Charlie's had Tron in it. And I remember every time we'd go to it, I would want to go play. And there were 2 versions of Tron, if you remember. One of them was the standing cabinet. The other one was the big booth. Where you sat in like a car. This one had the standing cabinet with the trackball and the joystick. So I didn't play in that one that was big until much later in the mall. I believe they had it. But I played the heck out of this game. Tron was a fun movie. I like the new Tron as well. Yep. These are definitely on my Benjamins, not my top 4, but these are definitely my Benjamins, and I know why people would love this. I love Jeff Bridges too. He's one of my favorites.
Oh yeah, Jeff Bridges is one of my favorites. I actually lost a role for True Grit because I was supposed to really Jeff Bridges and the Coen brothers. It's the best no I ever got. And they said, you look too much like a young Jeff Bridges. And I'm like, wow, I'll take that.
Compliment.
So
Joseph, what you like about this? Maybe. Do you know Tron?
I know it. I've seen it. I have to go with what Christian said. The light cycles were my favorite part of it. Definitely. I specifically remember it was the first time I ever had to look away from a film. I think the only time after that was when I saw Scream when I was like 8 years old. But before that, whenever they would block the other light cycle and they would explode, it was the first time as a kid I was like, oh! I remember that. I do remember.
Hey, so Zach, from my friends Christian and Joseph. Christian and Joseph, tell Zach's daughter hello for us.
Hello, Zach's daughter.
Hello, Zach's daughter.
Yeah, Zach, what's your daughter's name?
Yeah. What if his daughter's name is Zach's daughter?
Zach's daughter. That'd be great.
You guys
Hey,
Zach's the narcissist.
Yeah, hey Zach, man, we're gonna have Zach on the show during sports.
Yeah.
We're gonna have him on the show during sports. So one of the things I wanted to add, me and my wife just started a brand new show. It's only 1 season, 7 episodes. Jeff Bridges, The Old Man. If you haven't watched this yet,
it's on my list. I haven't gotten to it.
Hulu. He's like a retired CIA agent, old man with 2 Rottweilers, and he's being called back into action by none other than John Lithgow.
Wow,
it's amazing.
Dude,
I'll have
amazing.
to.
It's amazing.
After the next
it's only 7 episodes, but
after the next 4 times I watch The Office.
My wife and I are watching it right now. She's probably upset I'm not watching it right now.
As I get older, it's Jeff Bridges. That's the guy I'm modeling my Twilight years.
I love that.
That's not a bad person to model it out.
All right, Joseph, you're up, man.
Link.
What's your second best video game movie of all time?
All right, my link. Lawnmower Man.
What? Ooh. I thought this is a deep cut. I thought this one was not going to get called.
No
I
way.
thought this one was not going to get called. Bro,
talk about this movie, Joseph.
You just blew my mind. This was
Lawnmower Man. It prophesized VR. The VR headsets in Lawnmower Man are so darn close. They're so close to what we have right now as VR headsets and the VR. The whole thing. If you go back and watch Lawnmower Man,
where's Kevin?
No one predicted VR headsets.
Kettle Breyer's in the house. Kettle Breyer. So Kettle Breyer is, guys, he's a huge cosplayer in our convention scene in Louisiana in the area. Welcome, Kettle Breyer. This is your first time being here. And all the other ones that are first time here, this is for you, bud. Welcome to the Summit Squad. Yay. Yeah. Kettle Breyer. I remember Automan. That is a really old, that's a deep cut.
That is a deep cut. I've got to stop and think about that one.
Yeah. Hey, Nikki, 2 times. Hey, look, Lawnmower Man, dude.
I have no idea what this movie is.
Wait, I'm gonna just say this.
Do you want to know Pierce Bronson did so great in that film that nobody remembers that he led it?
I just looked up the cast. Pierce Brosnan,
Jeff Fahey,
himself, 007 himself.
He was the doctor, wasn't he? He was kind of the guy, the scientist. Yeah.
Listen, he had to fight Lawnmower Man at the end. It was awesome.
We have to go all the way back. We have to go all the way back to our first comment. Our very first comment, way up at the top, and it was Kevin. Now, I don't know if Kevin, you're still hanging out in here, but if you are, me and Kevin in 8th grade saw this movie in the theater. And it was because we were video game guys, and it was the first time they were talking about this virtual reality, and it's so crazy. The virtual reality like takes over, and the guy he was a lawnmower man. He was kind of, let's just say he was on the spectrum. Okay, so he's on the spectrum, and his job was kind of like a maintenance guy, right? And so he cuts grass and whatever. But as he's going through these virtual reality, he gets
horrible, but
back then it was fantastic.
No, I know.
That guy was garbage.
Smarter and smarter and smarter and smarter. And he becomes a part of the game, and he like takes over, and it's kind of like Electro and Spider-Man. He just kind of takes over. And this was going to be my deep cut number 4 for my Benjamin. I can't believe it. I actually mentioned it in one of the comments in the shorts. If you go and look, see if somebody's caught it. So maybe that was the one you saw, Joseph. But man, I love this movie. This has such nostalgia for me. I wish Kevin was still in the chat. Davey's back in the house. Rhonda's in the house. Nikki 2 times. Hey, if y'all are here, tell us your top 4 favorite video game movies of all time. And Kettle Breyer, I'm sending you a wrench, man. So you can be on a part. Everybody who gets a wrench can go and follow everybody else. They can go and see what's going on. Man, great movie. Now, Christian, you know Omer?
Oh, so I saw that movie. It was so long ago, and I had actually forgotten about it until Joseph just brought it, and I remember.
I knew it was going to be a deep cut. I can't believe you brought that up, dude. Dude, I feel like a proud dad, Joseph.
Yeah. I'm not as young as I look.
Me too.
I'm not as young as I look.
I just love it. I love that you called that up because that was the one I was hanging on. That was my twist. All right, cool.
I'm dating myself in the movies I'm calling out.
Need to watch dated myself, and you know it wasn't bad.
Right now, I've seen it recently. I say recently, probably in the last 15 years, because this is when I was probably, gosh, I was probably 8th grade. So what is that? 8th grade, 13 when I went and saw it originally. It doesn't hold up. It doesn't hold up. Now that
I can only imagine.
The story is real cool.
So bad.
The idea and the story is real cool, but if they redid it with today's like virtual reality, and kind of the new special effects, would probably be really cool.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
That's interesting.
It has that Planet of the Apes vibe.
Like Nikki 2 times asked if it's video games turn movies or movies and video games like Player One's. Both, a little bit of both, actually.
Yeah.
We can kind of combine it all. Again,
so
it's
Nikki
always up
2
to
times.
you.
It's your first time here. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say that becomes your criteria. That's the part of the whole Rushmore show, is that it's all subjective. So based on how you attack this list, you can go any number of routes with this stuff. So.
Is that Nikki 2 times first time?
This is
it's not his first time, but he's fairly new around here.
He's been here
also a part of the Spine Ticks family and all of those guys. So welcome, Nikki, to the show. So Andy,
yeah,
I think you're up, man.
I am up, and it's so different to do this now because Kirk's right next to me. But here we go.
I love that song. Like I want it to be really 80s retro vibe when I did that.
You did a great job. Awesome. You did a great job with it. And my Rushmore is Mortal Kombat. There's no doubt Mortal Kombat. We talked about it a lot. I know we've all kind of mentioned it, so we won't stick on this too long. But for all the reasons we talked about, man, this movie, that scene with Scorpion versus Luke Cage is just so good. Running through the forest, and then when they go down. So what I loved is
when they go to like hell.
When you play the video games, on certain levels, you can uppercut or you can send people down to new levels, and they did that in the movie.
Yeah, I freaked out.
That is just like, a lot of times video game movies like kind of go a different route.
Yeah,
they use it as a loose basis on things. But like they added those elements that fans of the video game would be like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. They added those elements. So yeah, for all the reasons that we said, I'll say this, I was always Team Scorpion versus Team Sub-Zero. I like Sub-Zero. I think he's awesome. Again,
I was always Team Scorpion too, because I loved the cable.
Get over here.
Because it was a bad as opposed to kind of the other things that some of the other things you had to do. I never really liked the characters that had the rotation on the joystick.
But
part.
I will say the most underrated Mortal Kombat character of all time. He was not in this movie because he came later. His MK3 was Kaab. Kaab was underrated.
Kaab was definitely the best.
Character.
When he ran off the street.
I'm playing as Kaab all the time.
Always.
That's
Kaab's my guy.
But Cyrax, man.
From MK3, Striker is the worst MK character, I would say. He's got a freaking gun and he throws grenades.
Yeah.
No one's living. You're dead.
What's the guy?
Dumb.
He's the cyber scorpion looking guy, but he blows up the world. He blows up the world.
Cyrax.
Yeah. Well, great movie.
Now Cyrax, the red one.
We already talked about that one, so we'll jump into the next one. We'll jump into the next one, which is my link. And if you guys are new here, we're at link, which is number 2 on the mountain. I'm gonna kind of jump ship a little bit, and I'm kind of going to go a different direction.
Okay.
I've already mentioned Super Mario Brothers, and I've already mentioned Mortal Kombat. Those are definitely amazing games. But I'm going to go with a movie. This movie introduced a video game. This is 1980s.
Okay.
I'm going with none other than The Wizard, which introduced us to Super Mario Brothers 3. And in the movie, Fred Savage and his younger brother travel the country to go to the Super Mario Brothers contest, which, by the way, is the NES most expensive video game out there, if you can get that copy with all the switches. But you go and play at the national championships for video games in Disneyland, which is where Sith is at, Spine and he's over in the Disneyland side. And listen, this movie also the Power Glove. He introduced the Power Glove, and the kid travels across the country. Now, kind of like Lawnmower Man. I have a soft spot for
Fred
special
Savage.
Ed kids.
Oh,
no,
sorry.
special ed kids. I used to work in that world, and I'm a teacher. But we have a kid that's really highly on the spectrum, and he's like a savant playing video games. So he is destroying all these video games across the country. They run away, parents are getting divorced or whatever, and they get there to try and get the money to save the house, a la Goonies type situation. And they get there, and he beats Mario Brothers 3 to win the whole kid and caboodle. Parents watch him do it, and they can't believe how great he is, and yada, yada, yada. And we win. And I wanted to bring it, and I forgot, kind of similar to this Get a Clue Chrysalis that I talked about in the beginning. I have the Nintendo Power Wizard that you got when you went and watched the movie as a program. Back at the house, and I forgot to grab it. But inside talks about Super Mario Bros. 3 for the very first time.
Nice.
Boom. Lots of nostalgia. One of the movies I saw as a kid. Love it. Super Mario Bros. 3. I think it was probably 9th grade for me, 8th grade, because I remember who I went with. It was also probably Kevin and Damon and Marcus and those guys. So my number 2. The Wizard.
Never seen the movie. So I've seen The Wiz, but that's not the movie you're talking about, right?
Get on down the road. The Wiz. All right.
What do you guys think about The Wizard, though?
I also haven't seen the movie. I need to go back, but I will say anything with Fred Savage in it is worth a look. Because
this is 20 years, little monster time, not later where he was older. But this is his younger days. He's still a kid, yeah. Little monsters, yeah. So I entered this contest. Oh, Nikki 2 times says he's in the contest in Valley Forge, Pennsylvania. Wow.
Nice.
Wow. Jeff says, great choice. Man, The Wizard. Let's see what it says. The Wizard had Fred Savage, but uncredited Spider-Man Toby. Was he really? What? Uncredited? That's dude, I'm glad you're here, Zach. That's the kind of tidbit I want in my life.
How old is Tobey Maguire?
How old is he's got to be young.
He looks younger than I think he is.
Alexis, you guys are awesome. Alexis, you're awesome. I'm glad you're here and hanging out.
Alexis,
oh, by the way, shout out to my boy here. He's graduating tomorrow. Everybody give him a round of applause out there in the chat. He's graduating tomorrow.
Finally getting out of high school, man.
Yeah, I'm almost with my master's. He's finishing his bachelor's. It's fantastic. Good job, man. Has anybody watched the Tetris movie? No, I haven't, but I heard it is a banger. It's on Apple TV, isn't it? I don't have Apple TV. So I believe it's on Apple TV. Congratulations. All right, so now we're to the George. This is number 1. We're going to see how we finish off this show. So, Christian, you're first, man.
Well, so
best video game movie of all time.
I love bad guys. I just love bad guys. And throughout my career, most of the time I play bad guys. And so there's a joy to it. And there is nothing cooler than a bad guy entrance that just shakes the foundation, the pillars of foundation, right? And I have to say, when Scorpion and the Sub-Zero made that entrance on that ship for the first time in that 1995 Mortal Kombat, that changed my life forever. My number 1 is the 1993 Mortal Kombat. That is.
We had to give you a Rushmore.
That for me. That set the tone for me for the kinds of action movies and video games. It's funny. I have a personal connection to this. A couple of my friends were actually in the movie. A guy by the name of Jeff Wolf, who was my stunt coordinator on the TV show Revolution. So before he was coordinating. He was in that movie as a fighter. And there's a fellow by the name of T.J. Storm. And T.J. Storm is Godzilla in all the Godzilla movies. He's the mocap guy that does all the Godzilla work for the last several years. So all those guys kind of got their start. But here's the crazy thing. The director was a fairly brand new director at the time. His name was Paul W.S. Anderson, who has gone on to make Resident Evil. He's gone on to make Monster Hunters. He's probably the most prolific video game movie director that there has been. It's pretty crazy. So
I got to shout out some friends, but while I'm shouting them out, I've got to say this. I wanted to ask you this back in March when I saw you, or whenever, was it March? Yeah, March when I met you. One of the big questions, not questions, but one of the big like shake your hand moments is Revolution. Yeah. And I'm going to tell you, it is, and I've mentioned this, it's on my mountain. For like science fiction television.
So good.
I absolutely love that show, and I was so heartbroken when that thing shut down. I'm sure you were even worse.
Me too.
I loved that thing. Giancarlo Esposito.
Fantastic.
Man, what and
it's a pleasure working with that guy every day.
Oh man, the whole show is fantastic. I got some folks down here, Nikki 2 times saying hello. He loved Revolution, but I just wanted to shout you out for that. I don't think Andy's ever watched that, but I love the cast. I love the story. I just, that type of story, I felt like we needed somebody to shut the door on it.
Yeah.
And it didn't finish. The door wasn't shut. And it makes me so mad even thinking back. I hope somebody picks it up and finishes the story at least. Something.
Yeah, that was one of those. I came in on the second season, and I was hooked on the first season. I was watching it. I was a fan of the show before I became a part of the show. So
I got some students in the house. Gabby, we're gonna miss you. She just graduated 5th grade. She's moving on to 6th.
Congratulations.
And I saw someone else. Oh, Blocks Fruit. I'm not sure which one of those students that is. But they're calling me Miss P, so I'm sure that's one of my students. Miss P. So I'm sure that's a student.
Well, you did call Miss Rhonda.
I did call Miss Rhonda Mr. Lusco. So yeah. So shout out to Gabby, shout out to Blocks Fruits. And Callie and Jordan, another one of the Breakfast Club friends, man. Yeah. Love you guys to death. Thank you for hanging out. Say hello to my friends from Five Nights at Freddy's. So, all right, that's a great movie, though. Look, so you were starting to talk, Christian. I love the lead up, man. It's like, boom, I love bad guys. And I kind of like whispered, and I was like, where is he going? And I went over to the brand, and I pulled up the Rushmore, and I said, Mortal Kombat. And I was like, it's gotta be.
That entrance is honestly, I think it's my favorite bad guy entrance of all time. Followed very closely, and this is not biased. It blew my mind. Lillard's entrance in Five Nights at Freddy's when Spring Bonnie was revealed. I'm like, what? It was so cool. It was such a cool entrance.
Now, I'm sure you get to, but how was he on to get to know Matthew Lillard?
Oddly enough, we worked with Josh, but we didn't get a chance to work with Matthew. Matthew wasn't in on our days. I got a chance to meet him at the screening in California. So I got a chance to open it to meet him right before the movie opened. And what a great guy. One of the interesting things about
the chat, go and friend Real Life Perspective. He was on the show about 3 weeks ago. And all the other guys, you guys all have wrenches. Go and sub each other, man. These guys are great communities. Yeah, I love Matthew Lillard. I was a fan of Scream. I was a fan of Shaggy.
The Scooby-Doo movie.
Yeah.
We're so fortunate because that entire cast across the board, it was awesome. It was great people. Everybody I worked with across the board, in front of, behind the camera, fantastic people. It's one of the best set experiences I ever had. Joseph is one of my good buddies now. We hang out and talk a lot, and And you know, I didn't know Joseph from scratch till the day I met him. So you know, I've got nothing but good memories, just the best memories from Five Nights.
Awesome.
Yeah, man, that's so good. That's so good. All right, Joseph, man, number one. What's your number one best ever video game?
A G-dub for the best ever video game movie. I almost want it to be a tie between two, but I'm gonna have to say Silent Hill.
Good pick. I only saw this mentioned once in the comments. It was Dennis. Dennis mentioned it before he left. Dennis has also been on our show the most of anybody, along with Paul. His number 2 or 3 was Silent Hill, and Pyramid Head is a extremely awesome baddie.
Yeah, Pyramid Head is amazing.
Silent Hill, great movie, scary game. Scary movie. One of the things I like about this movie, Joseph, and you can probably attest, is it is a very good adaptation of the original work.
Yeah,
it is. The thing I love about it the most is that the director of photography was already a huge fan of the video game, and he said that what he loved the most about the video game was the way the camera followed the character. And he's right. You would walk around a corner, and the camera angle would change. It wouldn't follow the character. It would just change down the hall, and then you're walking towards the camera like this. And that was like one of the craziest things. They did that throughout the whole film. The camera angle would change to low angles, and she's walking all the way across. Or they even made sets where the door and the wall would come together, and she was knocking on the door, and then the wall would open, and the camera could pass through to get like a side view of the other side of the door, just so they can make it just like the video game camera movements. It's awesome, man. It's awesome.
Yeah, I hated that about the game. That was just my personal side of it. I was like, I'm like walking forward now. My control switches, the camera angle. I hated it. But I do appreciate, again, like you said, though, even as much as I didn't like that they added that to the movie.
Hey, shout out to FNAF. Shout out to FNAF. Kettlebriar in the house. Man, Kettlebriar has such great stuff. You guys go follow him on Facebook, Instagram, whatever. He's got great cosplay. But look what he's saying here, man.
Yeah.
There were a lot of FNAF cosplay all over Texas Frightmare this past weekend.
I got a lot of photographs from people that sent me a lot of that stuff. There were some really cool looking cosplays.
So I think it might have been the very first RetroCon. There was a cosplay, or maybe I think it was the first one. It wasn't the one you guys were at, because it was when we were in the corner. There was a guy dressed up like Pyramid Head, and it was one of the best costumes I've seen in a long time.
Yeah,
it was very good.
That comment right there. I have friends that freak out when they hear the siren from Silent Hill. That's one of the reasons why I loved it, and that's the reason why it's my G-dub, is because the audio was so perfect. It made you creeped out when that siren went off. You knew, oh, shit's about, pardon my French, crap's about to hit the fan. And
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
It's a creepy game. Yeah, when I was younger, I played a lot of that horror jump scare stuff. One of the reasons I probably haven't played Five Nights at Freddy's, I stopped kind of playing that type of game. But it was a good game.
I remember playing. This is probably a little known game, just along those lines of jump scare. And like I would go rent games, and I would play them in the dark because they were just scary, and I was just stupid. But I remember renting Area 51.
Oh,
Area 51, and it's probably like in the grand scheme of like scary games, like definitely not going to be ranked there. But I personally remember Blockbuster renting that game.
Davies agreeing. Yes, that was the September. They had a Silent Hill, Pyramid Head, had a cosplay that won the awards for the Adult Vision. It was really awesome. All right, man. Let's finish this mountain up.
Let's do it, and let's do this. All right. It's a me, Mario. We're going with the brand new Mario. I mean, there's no doubt. It's the best that there is. There's not for a 90s kid, it is as close to a perfect video game movie that I think that we could have imagined. I think so first of all, I'm a huge Chris Pratt fan. Very big Chris Pratt fan. I love everything.
Parks and Rec.
I love Parks and Recreation is one of my favorite TV shows of all time. In fact, I might like it slightly better than The Office. I know it's.
But you haven't watched it as much, though.
I have. They're back to back. They're back to back. But regardless, because if it's not The Office, I'm just going to go back and watch Parks and Rec, and it's just a vicious cycle. But here's the deal: Chris Pratt. Not only just him. I mean, you have Seth Rogen in this one. You got Keegan-Michael Key. You've got, all these big names. Charlie Day is Luigi. Like, so many great. Fred Armisen is in this movie. I love Fred Armisen. But this movie is as close to perfect. Like we talked about, when you can have all of these, like, I have to watch this 1,000 times. There's like an Easter egg video I watched online that the Easter egg video is probably an hour of them discussing all of them. I mean, when they get into like the Toad Town and stuff, and they're in like through the markets and stuff, you're like, how did you catch all this stuff?
Yeah,
the amount of time that went into it. But I think I love
all the different, like there's little Mac in a picture on the wall.
Shop, like way off, and it's there for a half of a second. But I'll say this: I think this movie, it's just so funny. It's good. It's lighthearted. It's it's good CGI or whatever that animation is, computer animation and all that stuff. But I think that it beautifully blends all of these Mario games together. Like we're not just taking Super Mario Brothers. Like we're not just taking Super Mario Brothers 3. We're not just taking, but we've got Mario Kart. We've got the Donkey Kong side of things to it. It's setting up, and then I touched on this whole Nintendoverse. Can you imagine the Super Smash Brothers movie that'll happen? I mean, think about it. We said Mortal Kombat. All three of us have mentioned Mortal Kombat. Imagine that in the Nintendoverse. Like that movie's just
Smash Brothers would be amazing. They're gonna do it. They're gonna do
it. That would be dope.
But yeah, Super Mario's 2023 is just my favorite.
Hey, question. Real life. Sean, you out there? You still out there? Tell me in the comments you're still there. But I love this movie.
I know,
tremendously for all the things that we've said. But here's the other thing. This is going to be our kids, right?
Yeah,
Jim. This is going to be like the one. Like they're going to remember this. This is their childhood movie. Like seriously, like they're going to come to this. And honestly, the only one that there's two more. Mm-hmm. There's two more movies that our kids are going to link to like this, and one of them is Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah.
The other one hasn't been mentioned yet. Is it
a video game movie?
Yeah, it's a video game movie, and I can't believe somebody had mentioned it. But it's coming soon, I'm sure. We'll probably see it here soon. But did he say hello? Is he out there? If you're out there, tell me, real life, if you're hanging around. But I'll jump into mine. Let me jump into mine because this week crushed with you. We've already talked. Number one.
What you got?
Number one, I'm going to just bring this comment up here in a second. But I'm going to just tell you my number one video game movie is probably my favorite book of all time.
Oh, yep, there it is.
And it's got tons and tons and tons and tons of references. I'm going with none other than Ready Player One. Yeah. And listen,
okay.
The movie was not nearly as great as the book, but when have they ever been? That's the only thing I ever see. Everybody crashes on it. But the book is so in depth. It's built like a Dungeons and Dragons. It's this storyline is fantastic. It goes back to, it has so many Easter eggs throughout it, so many such that the Easter eggs that were in it, if you could figure out and crack the code, the writer of the book, which he's gone on to make Ready Player 2 and Armada, he gave away a DeLorean. A DeLorean to the first person that could figure out the code, which has a lot to do with what the game did. But it's very much like this is Lawnmower Man. So it's like being in the Oasis is like being in the virtual reality and the stacks. I love it. I love everything they did with it. I love the twists. The book was way better. And I'm not a big reader, and I've read this one multiple times. I just never have been a big reader, but I love this. There's so many, from Pac-Man to Q*bert to Donkey Kong to when it's going through the Oasis and everybody's avatars, and you're seeing all those old games and it's just fantastic. I love this game so much, and I knew this was my number one, and that's why I made my criteria that way.
Yep.
Because I wanted to mention.
Find a way to fit this one in there.
Yeah, I had to find a way to mention this one.
Yeah, this is great. This is good. What you guys think about Ready Player One?
It definitely it was on my honorable mentions. I've had to knock a couple of honorable mentions off tonight. You guys we're all in the pocket with a lot of these films, and you know, Steven Spielberg directing.
Yes,
you know, so many.
Talk about this.
Oh yeah, random riffs. Look, yeah, I got you, bro. Yeah, leaving out Azeroth and the Joust, which you guys don't know. Joust. I just was holding this right here. So Andy's, put it up there. Andy's youth group, and the youth group I used to be a part of, which one of the reasons I'm here in town, they're called Journey Students. And look at that, Joust, Jou for Journey and ST for Students, Joust. And that was a fun little thing we put together. But I love Joust and other 80s stuff. Dude, 80s stuff is all over. I'm such an 80s weeb, dude. I love 80s so much. You know it. My music's all, gosh. Callie and Jordan, that book, I have it, but have not read it yet. I'm going to be honest. I read 3/4 of it when my daughter was sick, and then I listened to it several times, because I have a long drive to work. But so I've listened to it more times. Shout out to Journey Youth. Yeah, Dylan's still in the house. Hey, we still got 16 people out there. Who's out there? Say hello. Spam the chat. And make sure hit the like.
Yes.
So if real life perspective, you're still out there, I have something I want to show you. So let me know. So now it's time for our Benjamins. This is why we close the show down, fellas. We tell everybody good night, but before we do, it's fun to think about that there might have been a 5th person on the mountain, which is like the honorable mention of the Mount Rushmore.
Yeah,
it was Benjamin Franklin left. So we call it All About the Bennies. This is our honorable mention segment. All right, here we go. So this is how it goes. This is we don't have to talk about them as much, but we cannot mention anything we've already mentioned on the show. And we are just going to throw out 4 more of your favorites. So with the 4 of us, there's 16 more movies that are going to be mentioned somehow or another in this go. Christian, you're first, then Joseph, then Andy, then me, and then it goes backwards and forward and backwards. And Christian, you're going to get the last pick of the draft. You're going to get Brock Purdy of our video game Rushmores. All right, so here we go. Christian, you're up.
Listen, just missed. My Benjamin is War Games with Matthew Broderick and Ali Sheedy, Barry Corbin. Listen, it got nominated for 3 Academy Awards. There wasn't a game. It wasn't so much built around Missile Command, but I have to believe that Missile Command played into the creation of this movie.
This was on my list. When I changed my criteria to get Ready Player One, it brought in The Wizard, it brought in War Games, it brought in Starfighter, and it's a great pick.
All right, nice.
All right, Joseph, what's your next one on the mountain?
Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, you can't say we've already said that one.
Oh, it can't be something we've. Yeah, okay. It's not even a list.
I agree. Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah.
Well, it's not. It can't even be something we've mentioned because then it would be Resident Evil.
Resident Evil hasn't been. No. On their list. So Resident Evil, great pick. You picked.
Okay, I was gonna say that. Resident Evil, and definitely because of the laser room.
Say it again.
Because of the laser room.
Oh, yeah.
Resident Evil it's on my long list of Benjamin.
And who directed? Paul W.S. Anderson, of course.
There you go. It's on my long list of picks there.
All right. I'm going to take one because I think that may be one that Kirk takes, but he probably has a longer list of Benjamins than I do.
Well, I showed you my list.
Oh, yeah. I could pull from that one if I want to, but I'm going to try to pull from just the few that I have left that have survived. Adam Sandler, Pixels.
Yes. Yes.
That's good.
Adam the Sandman in here.
Fun movie. All right. This is the one I said is going to be our kids. And actually, there's a 1 and a 2. I'm going to take number 2 because it improved it from 1, but 1 is amazing. I'm going with Sonic 2.
Oh,
Sonic number 2 is going to be my first pick. And then I get a second pick to wrap around to come back. And I am going to take the one I think you'll probably take.
No, don't do that. I only have 4.
Okay. You only got 4? No, I'll leave it. I'll leave it because I've got other ones.
I may not take it.
Well, let me say this. If it's there by number 4 pick, he hasn't taken by number 4, I'm taking it. So let me go back to my mountain because I had that on my head. Let me go back to my list. I'm going to go. So you said Pixels. I'm not going to go with that one. Oh,
he's scrolling through this list.
Here's a fun one.
Anticipation's killing me.
Here's a fun one. Here's a fun one.
Don't do it.
Don't do what?
I'm
gonna go with Ryan Reynolds.
Okay.
Free Guy.
Okay.
Oh yeah, sure.
All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna
I
go
like
with
Ryan Reynolds. I like Ryan Reynolds a lot, so that's a good
fantastic movie. My son loves that movie. We've probably watched it 100 times.
All right, my next one, since we're coming back around the mountain, I mentioned it because on my mountain I put the first one. Let's put Ralph Breaks the Internet. Let's just get it on there too. I'll say this. The reason it didn't make my mountain because this one still is video games, but it is more just kind of like internet as opposed to just video games because they go to like eBay and they do different things like that too. So, but I will say the whole idea of being in like a Grand Theft Auto type game was the coolest thing ever. So I gotta go with Ralph Breaks the Internet.
All right, great pick. Joseph, you're up. One that hasn't been mentioned.
But Ralph Breaks the Internet has been mentioned, so that would be Rushmore, right?
No, it hasn't.
No,
I picked Wreck-It Ralph.
He did part one, not part two. So now
yeah, that's right. We just talked about the part two. Okay.
Yeah.
Mine, even though I'm not a big fan of the films at all, it plays a big place in my heart because I have this like personal curse. I cannot watch. Don't hate me, you guys. Please, Grace and Russell, do not hate me if you see this. I cannot watch The Lord of the Rings without falling asleep. So, The Lord of the Rings was a book, and then it was a video game in the 80s, and then it was a movie. So, Lord of the Rings.
Okay, we'll take it. Okay. We'll take it.
I like that. I like the route that you're going.
I love the route.
But I agree with you.
I hate what you just said.
I agree.
I wish I could watch it, man. I've tried like 8.
So like
cut an hour and a half off of that movie.
3 weeks ago, we had.
There's got to be a Gollum in every crowd.
3 weeks.
I made it to Gollum.
We had next gen nerd on Pastor. We did high fantasy movies, and yeah, I argued this.
You can have my sword and my bow and my axe. Favorite line from the whole movie.
All right, so Christian, you get 2.
I get back to back. So in 2001, they introduced the female version of Indiana Jones, Lara Croft, Tomb Raider.
Yes. Which wait. Before you say that, real life, you're here. I was calling you out. I was trying to see if you were here. You still here, right? Real life. Look, just to tell you, we're gonna have a look right here. I'm gonna cover up everything. Real life sent me a gift. This is a gift. I won this on his community. If you guys go and like and friend all these folks in the community, you win gifts. Look, I got this one too from his buddy, Vintage Sports. I'm going to do a video with these two and another one that I got from Paul in the 619. I've got a couple of those. I'm going to rip a video pretty soon, and I'll tag you guys all in it. Real life, thank you for supporting our channel, and man, I love what you do, man. So, yeah, great pick. Now, what's your next one?
Well, before I moved on, I just wanted to say that Daniel Craig was actually in that movie, and 5 years later, he became James Bond. So I have to think that his portrayal influenced moving forward to become the next James Bond. And then just recently, 2023, there was a lot of video game movies released in 2023. Five Nights at Freddy's, Super Mario Brothers, and Gran Turismo.
Oh, see, this is one I haven't seen yet, so I don't have it on my list.
It's very interesting. Supposedly based on a true story about same kind of idea as the Last Starfighter. The Gran Turismo players, the top players would become Formula One racers, and it was a very interesting movie. And the really cool thing,
I haven't seen it yet. I think it's on Netflix.
The director, he did District 9, Elysium, Chappie. I mean, really some good stuff in that film.
District 9 surprised me. I did not expect it to be. It had no business being as good as it was.
Neil Blomkamp, yeah, he's pretty good. But yep, that's three of my.
All right, Joseph, you're up, man. You get. Oh, Joseph disappeared.
He's not. He popped out.
We'll come back to Joseph. So, Andy, you got your next pick, and then if you don't take it now, I'm gonna have to take it because I got 2 more picks.
I have like no movies to pick left. So I liked this movie. I went and saw it in the theaters with my kids. It's probably not one that always pops up, but I actually thought it was pretty cool. I believe Keegan-Michael Key was a voice in this one. The Angry Birds movie.
Yeah.
It was really, for what it is, like for a CGI, you know, one of those just go eat some popcorn, have a good time movie. I really enjoyed the Angry Birds movie. Also really enjoyed that summer where Angry Birds was a craze on everyone's phone. Everyone had it. There was not a person who was immune to it.
I'm really sad that you didn't mention this because I know how much you love this game.
Yeah, go for it.
Go like this game. Like
I know what you're going to say.
I'm going with Detective Pikachu.
You can do that. You can do that. And that's
Detective Pikachu.
Yeah,
bro. Pokemon. Where it's at, man.
I haven't watched the movie yet. I haven't watched that movie yet. That's why.
That's why you haven't put on it. Oh gosh, it's so good. And I'm not even a Pokemon guy, but that is a great.
I do love Pokemon. I will say, was that the one that Post Malone did the cover of "Only Want to Be with You" by
I believe so. I believe so.
It was something for like the 20th.
So I'm getting a message right here from Joseph. He's having trouble getting back in. If he can come back in, we'll get him in. But man, thank you, Joseph, for being here.
Man.
But if you can't get back in, Joe, man, we'll reach back out soon, man. But I know he's kind of having a little internet connectivity, but we're so thankful for you. So here's my last pick. So I'm gonna go off the rails a little bit. I'm gonna pick one I know you won't have, but this one's not based off a video game.
Yeah.
It's not based off a video game at all, but the movie is a video game. It is literally a video game. I'm going with Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Michael Cera?
Michael Cera. So that's my two picks, man. Yeah, so I'm done, man. I am done with my mountain. You finish up. So, hey, Joseph's back. Look, Joseph, you missed out. We picked Detective Pikachu, Scott Pilgrim, and the
Angry Birds.
The Angry Birds movie. So you're up. Give us what your next pick would be.
My next pick would have to be The Last of Us.
Nice. Which
it's not a movie. It's not a movie technically.
Yeah. Great.
It's film. We'll talk about it. We'll take it for sure.
Take it. Last of Us is amazing.
It's because of that intro. It's because of the intro. It was exactly like the intro to the game, like shot for shot.
Dylan says Scott Pilgrim's the best. I'm glad you. Yeah, Jeff, that's a good pick. It's out there. I don't know that Andy's seen it, so he might not say that one.
You mentioned
pick too. We're not necessarily doing TV, but Castlevania's it's pretty rough though. All right, so Andy, you're up. Your last pick. You want my list? It's got a longer list.
No, I got one. One because I'm going to go kind of in the route that you are thinking. And I'm cheating on this one, but it's the last of my Benjamins. We could put it on there. I'm just going to go with the Pokemon movie that I watched as a kid. I was a big fan of this, of seeing Mewtwo. Like, we talk about like baddie entrances. Like, I know it's not like intimidating, but dude, did you know that Mewtwo is 6'7", almost 300 pounds?
Really?
Mewtwo is massive.
And Mew's like this.
And Mew's tiny. But anyway, the Pokemon movie was fantastic. I will tell you, there were nights when I would play Pokemon on the Game Boy where I would start playing and it was like dinner time. And then when I realized I was done playing, I woke up, it was breakfast time.
Yeah.
Like I just played it through the night without even realizing.
Dylan, Assassin's Creed was on my list. There's another movie very similar to Assassin's Creed that was also on my list.
Yeah,
and
the original, the Pokemon movie that
I don't even like Pokemon, but that movie was great.
Jeff, you need to like Pokemon.
Yeah, Jeff, don't be that guy.
All right, where are we
Joseph, your last pick, and Christian, your last pick. So Joseph, go ahead.
Okay, my very last pick. Video game movies, very last pick, and it's between a couple of them. But I'd have to go with, and hear me out here when I say this, it's the game and the movie itself were one all in one, and it was Dragon's Lair.
Good pick. It was a movie in a game.
It was a movie and a game all in one.
I love that pick. That's the type of things we like. Yeah. Dragon's Lair, Ace, those games were great. They're hard.
I would love to play Dirk in a live action Dragon's Lair if anybody's watching.
They are. That's in pre-production also.
Oh man, please.
Dirk. Old Dirk. There's a friend that kind of jumps in here every once in a while. Dirk Remington. He's awesome show. Go watch him. All right, Christian, finish us off, man. We're done.
I still have a couple. I had more on my list than I. It surprised me. I've got so many left, but the next rank, it's Assassin's Creed. It is Assassin's Creed.
And we just mentioned it.
Michael Fassbender, and it was one of my favorites. Yeah, that was it. And and there are other movies like Uncharted and Monster Hunter and Rampage and all these different films.
Prince of Persia.
It's crazy.
So Prince of Persia was an excellent game and not a great movie.
I like it, but it was not a flop. It
wasn't a flop. No.
Very well.
Oh, it did great in the box office.
So
I
can't say much. I picked Street Fighter
just
for my
to show
first
you guys. See if I can get the focus in. No, there's 94 movies on my list.
Nice.
Cool. And listen, I'm gonna drop it, and I say 94. I always use Chat GPT and sort and get all my things and put in the comments that I want. But like, I want these movies, I want those, and I put it all together. I put them in alphabetical order so Andy wouldn't know what I was picking. I sent it to him because he couldn't think of some of the movies. And yeah, it came up with 94. I'll drop that thing in the comments when the show's over. But man, what a fantastic show. Let me just say this. I love the chat being so active. What a great community. I would go back and say hello and thank you to all of them. But the last few folks, Dylan, Nikki, Jeff, Real Life, Callie, Connor, Kettlebriar, I mean, just random rips. I'm off the top of my head, Kevin and Rhonda, and I mean, just Davey, so many people. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting us. Let me just tell you what's coming up. Okay. So next week we have Jeff, who's in the comments, Jeff Hufstetler, which is also Retromaniac. He's coming on for inspirational movies. Then the next week we have another convention staple, if you will. We have Joe Mexican come in, Dope Smack. He's #1.
It's right over there.
Oh yeah, it's right here.
Under that
right here. We have Dope Smack come in the week after. He is the New Orleans' first superhero. This is his first comic book, the first issue. But issue #2 is coming out. Dope Smack will be on. He's going to do action characters. So we've got action movies.
We're trying to get on his movie.
Oh, yeah. So we're going to be – he wants us to
wants to beat us up.
He wants us to be extras in the Dope Smack movie as some fat biker guys. So, yeah, we're going to – see, maybe we can
Bebop and Rocksteady over
Bebop and Rocksteady. There you go. And hey, we might have to go to Christian's acting school so that we can get on Dope Smack's movie.
Okay.
Yeah. So there we
I'll
go.
come to set. I'll come to set and we'll do some work on the side. We got it.
Yeah. And so then we have 2 more guys. And look, I'm throwing this out there to the chat. We've got people that have reached out to us. We need 2 more that we need to pre-record. Looking to maybe pre-record one in the next couple days while I'm here, if possible. Maybe Monday morning, Tuesday morning. It's a pre-record, so we'll record it then. It won't be live, and we'll put it out in July. And then we need to do 2 of those. Here's the reason: we're going to camp, and we're going to camp with Dylan. And Dylan, that might be a good reason.
Dylan's going to youth camp.
He's going to camp. Yeah,
but he's coming with me.
He's going to you with Dylan, and then I'm going to kids camp with Andy. And those are like back-to-back weeks, and we're going to be out of pocket, so those episodes won't be live, but it's going to be just like an ode to 2021, 2, and 3. Some throwbacks when we used to do it, pre-record it, and we're going to add all the fun edits that we used to do. That's going to be awesome. But we need 2 more guests. If somebody wants to jump in, you're welcome to pick the topic. We would like to record one this next couple days, and then maybe one on a Friday. Andy is off on Fridays, and I'm off for the summer. So if you guys are up for doing it, Davey, I know you mentioned last time we were in, you wanted to do it. Reach out, shoot us a message on Instagram if you'd like to be a part, and we'll do that. And then we're finishing off. General Kenobi was in here just a few minutes back, and he's going to do the top 4 Jedi. Then we jump into nostalgia, and we are packed with guests already. We haven't booked any of them yet, but we have tons of people wanting to join. And then sports, then food. We wrap back around video games, music, and movies again. There's our 6 topics that we're going to go around all year, 2 months apiece. So that's what's finishing up.
Yeah, and then tons of more, like you said earlier, reboot content that's going to be coming out.
Reboot content's going to be coming out. We'll do some revisited comment. I was just thinking the other day, I got to go do my peanut butter revisited.
That's good.
My peanut butter revisited. Hey, look, episode 2, we had Ask Your Cats Questions Day. And we did Pop Culture Cats. I could probably redo that one.
Pop Culture
but anyways.
we should get Feral.
Feral's going to come over video games. Maybe nostalgia. But yeah, anyway. Here it is. Christian and Joe, tell us, where can they find you? What are you working on? Where can they see you in the theater?
You share? What can
Whatever you can share. Tell them how to find you and support you in whatever you're doing. Christian, you can go first.
Cool. Well, so I just wrapped shooting a film in December called Bad Man. So I don't have a release date on that, so I'm keeping an eye on that. I've been working on building a live action production company. I'm about to blow that up in New Orleans, and we got some fun stuff to do and to create. I am going on the road to do the Edgar Allan Poe Speakeasy starting in June. So I'm going to do a couple of dates, touring all over the country, reading some Edgar Allan Poe short stories, and I've got a couple of things in the can that may cause me to shave all my hair off for the first time in my life. But hey, it's show business; it grows back. And yeah, so that's the majority of what I've got going on. I teach acting classes in Kennesaw in Georgia, and I'm probably I'm looking at possibly opening up something in New Orleans in the near future. And I started working as a pro dungeon master for my D&D group. So it's pretty cool.
Hey, so Christian, just throwing this out there.
Yeah.
He's not a part of our group anymore, but he's somebody I would love for you to go and check out and follow. His name's John and Paul. They have a group, and it's called Playing Games with Strangers. And essentially, it is a play off of D&D and Stranger Things, but Playing Games with Strangers. It's a bunch of guys that do a podcast while playing D&D.
Love it.
They used to be in the Culture Box. So yeah, go check those guys out.
I'll do it. That's right up my alley.
Joseph, what can they find you? Skating to Hell and all the other things. Tell them about it and what you got going on.
So I am now the lead actor of a film called Skate to Hell. It stars Spencer Breslin, James Duvall, Riley Chase, and it's amazing. Eric Roberts, Robert Carradine, Robert Lasardo, a great cast, amazing people. It's over the top, really gory adult comedy horror, I guess. But the horror is more comedic to me. It's about a guy who actually runs into the devil's son and steals his skateboard. And then me and my friends try to figure out a way to destroy the board. You got to watch it. I don't want to spoil anything. But it's fun. It's a fun movie. If you like comedies and skateboarding and 80s horror movies, you're going to love it.
So, Joseph, last week we had Mark on from October Nights Press, who's also a part of the convention scene with us. And we did top 4 horror movies. And maybe if we would have seen this movie already, it would have made a Rushmore. But if you like horror movies, especially horror comedies, you might want to go watch last week's episode. By the way, if you ever jump into the show, leave your top 4. Don't leave without saying hi. I know a lot of people like to lurk. Just at least say hello so we know you're there, so we just can remember and support you guys. But and if you've got a YouTube channel, you've got other things, we'd love to support your community. Let us know how we can support. We're almost to that 1,000 mark. We'd love to build up those watch hours, obviously. Thank you guys. Anybody who's in here right now, I hope you've already hit the like button. That helps. That's just an easy way to help. But go hit the subscribe button. The subscribe button literally does not much of anything except let you know when we put stuff out there. You don't even have to watch. At least you'll know when we're putting it out there.
We would love if you watch.
But we would love if you watch and say hello.
Part of the community.
This is when we air. We air every Friday night unless life happens. And life happens to us is when we're doing ministry or playing sports. birthday parties. Whenever there's something, then we'll move it up to a Thursday night. But all of our stuff comes out Friday night at this time. And yeah, I think it's time to go and hang out with the fam. Yeah, we just hit 867.
We got 4 subs tonight,
so
man. That's
yeah,
awesome.
man. So
top 4.
we
That's
are
my top 4 subs.
133 away from 1,000. Man, share with all your friends. Tell them to come find these old bearded bald guys who are going to be on a Dope Smack movie led by.
You're going to want to see us before we get really
led by Mr. Stokes. Yeah, we're going to have to get some formal training.
Stokes Smack, Dope Smack.
Dope Smack.
There you go.
So if we were Bebop and Rocksteady, who's Bebop? Who's Rocksteady?
I'm Rocksteady.
You're Rocksteady?
I was in a band.
You're the
rocker. I mean, you can't even play a guitar. Can you spell guitar?
I mean, technically, Bebop is musical too.
Bebop Anonymous.
He was all about hip hop, man. I was rock.
So Bebop, I'm down with it. I'm down with the warthog.
Bebop.
I'm a young warthog. All right, man. So it's time to say good night. Andy, tell everybody
Christian,
good night.
Joseph, thank you for being on. Very, very huge privilege to have you guys hang out with us for a couple hours. So, hey, we're going to say goodnight like we always do to all our friends out there on the Summit Squad. This is the Rushmore Show, where it's all about your top 4 and nothing more.